Welcome, everybody, to Crunch Time with Jeff, Booner, Lucas, and Mike.
Let's go, baby.
Friday. And Super Bowl's this weekend, boys. I mean, hey, the Lions
Couple
should be playing
days.
in it. The Lions should be playing in it, but that's not the here or there. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We got a packed show planned for you guys today. Again, the same as always, the same loyal listeners joining early. Elysius, Freddie Fell 313, Lloyd, AB, Vincent Ellison, Robbins Ness, man. We
Shout out
appreciate
to fellas.
Neil, ETN, Shift God, and Dark Flame.
Shout out.
Coach Walk, the man, ETN. I saw a lot of these guys last
MVP.
night, too, when I was on Spiro, so I appreciate you guys for supporting me no matter where I am. And here on Crunch Time, man, we got to –
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to get into it, man. We got some things from Troy Weaver's press conference that we're gonna kind of break down just for a little bit here. I want you guys to more so react.
Your
I just
boy
want you guys.
Troy.
I've got some things about Troy Weaver. I'm ready. I took a couple notes.
I just want you guys to react to it. We'll discuss it, but it's going to be a heavy Lion show. Obviously, back half of the show, really the last 30 minutes or so, we'll go through the Super Bowl. We'll break that down, and then we'll get maybe some bets from Booner if he's kind. If he wants to give us some free money.
I have a couple, and I don't want to lead people in the wrong direction, too, because I like to do my homework and make sure my bets are correct. So I do have some for the show today as well. We'll have some on my Twitter throughout the weekend as well as things start to kind of settle in going into Sunday. I don't want to give out – if you guys know me, I don't want to give out losers. Like, we went through the whole season. I mean, Jeff and I did the pregame show all season long. I think it's very, very well known. I see a lot of people kind of troll sometimes, like, oh, Booner only gives out losers. That is the most false narrative of all time. I gave out all winners this year. I hit at one of the highest rates probably in the country.
You don't lose. You don't lose. Booner doesn't
Dude, I went
lose.
on there was like a 3-week span in the Detroit Lions season to where I hit like 24 straight bets. And it was like, that's not a joke. Like if I don't have enough bets for you guys tonight, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have about 4 of them so far, maybe 5 that I like that I've seen so far. But throughout the weekend, I will be posting them on my Twitter. We'll Crunch Time. We'll retweet it and everything. So make sure you guys keep an eye out. Keep an eye out.
Yeah,
we'll have some. It's
funny too because Boone next season we'll have a full season of Booner's bets. Like,
yeah,
you know, and I don't want to be like, hey, like Lucas be dropping those parlays too. Like we got some guys that we're in the trip. Mike, Mike will randomly send a ticket and he makes $1,000 on a parlay. So I'm not the guy to go to. I rely on you guys for my information. So I can't wait for it.
I think we lost Lucas again. Lucas, are you there? I think we've lost.
Actually, I kind of like Lucas staring at the. Oh no, he's not there no more. I like his face when he was just staring. But man,
yeah, but I mean, those guys do hit some parlays. You know, I'm more so like I do like to bet parlays and do that. I'm just more so like, hey, I'll give you some straight bets. If you want to make some money, do me with the parlays. It's hey, those are lottery picks. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I'm going to give you some winners that are guaranteed winners, and we're going to make some money throughout the season. So I will have stuff for the Super Bowl as well, today and throughout the weekend.
I want to put this up. We'll just react to this. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. There goes Lucas. I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's just basically Troy Weaver breaking down really the storyline with Killian and why he was waived. I just want to play this and we can give some thoughts on it. We'll get to Lions, but this is per Corey Woods, the great Corey Woods of M Live.
Shout out Corey, man.
An absolute animal. He covers the Pistons and Lions for M Live. I don't know how that. I don't think he sleeps, to be honest with you. But here's the clip. I'll put it up on the screen, and this is Troy's reason for why Killian was waived and why he wasn't traded. We'll hear it from him.
Troy, what ultimately led to the releasing of Killian Hayes? Was there like any type of trade value for him on the market? Like what just ultimately led to the outright release?
Yeah, I mean, it was a numbers game. The trades, we had to take a certain amount of players, and there was a limited amount of guys we could choose from to release. And Killian got caught in that. You know, we wish him well. I'm excited for what's ahead of him. Tremendous young man, still 22. Find his footing somewhere else and carry on his professional career.
Ultimately, why did I know that was the first draft pick? It was in the COVID year.
Oh my gosh!
What? Okay. And here comes Lucas back. What's up, Lucas? How you doing?
Are we good, Lucas? We're locked in.
Well, I prayed to Lewis Riddick during this.
All right,
yeah,
it
worked out fine. Yeah, I don't know, man. And I've been saying this and saying this and saying this. I said it on Bleach Report today too. Like the only hope you have is Duran, Ivy become all-stars alongside Cade Cunningham. That's it. That's all I got. I saw
being a great role player.
But guys, I saw something. What do you guys think? I saw on Twitter today, Tobias Harris, the big free agent they're chasing.
I'm gonna can I go real quick?
Yeah, take it away.
Want to throw this out there. I don't know at this point if I have respect for anyone that is a Troy Weaver fan anymore. I think I'm past that point. I think I'm fully past it. There was people in our comments from our show yesterday that were kind of coming at me or whoever, like, I don't know. We had made some comments yesterday about they got worse at the trade deadline. That's kind of just a fact. Like, they didn't go out and get better players. They went out and got worse players. Terry Foster, legend that covered the Pistons forever, his whole career, he tweeted out and said, so let me understand this. The Detroit Pistons, they traded guys that they don't think are good for new guys who are worse and don't think they're good. You just took a step back. And at the end of the day, I get it. You needed to move on from some guys. You needed to kind of free up some cap space at the end of the season. What are you going to do with that? I said it yesterday. I feel like I'm just repeating myself. Does everyone in this chat, does everyone out there, every Pistons fans, do you guys really trust Troy Weaver to go out there and make moves this offseason? I'm over it. I'm over it. What's happening is he's putting you into another 4 or 5 year rebuild. The whole thing needs to get moved on. I don't understand kind of the concept of what's going on right now. If Tom Gores doesn't want to own the team, then just sell the team and give it to someone who wants to turn this thing around and win. That's where I'm at with it. Tobias Harris. Oh, wow. Your big signing in this offseason with money is a role player who's been in Detroit at a point. I know different scenario, but you're putting it back in a situation with young guys that you're going to have to be the old vet that's going to have to go out and play every single night and try and win games while other guys are getting hurt, and you're bringing in random players off the street. This is a cycle, guys, and I'm kind of over it. I don't know if I have respect for people who are going to stick up for Troy Weaver going forward. Don't think I'm going to be able to. That's just me. That's just me. Not even mediocrity. It's worse. It's just, do you just want to be bad for the rest of our lives? Like, what are we doing here with this? What does Tom Gores seriously think he's doing with this basketball team, keeping Troy Weaver around to literally, you just got worse at the trade deadline for what? A bad free agency class? You're not going to go out. No superstar is going to want to come here. You're just banking on Cade Cunningham to be an MVP of the league. and we've seen the last 2 days, Jaden Ivey has been putting up better numbers. Like, I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Is that comment fair?
No.
I mean, if we're being real,
he's not. Listen,
he should have been fired for holding on to those guys after last year.
Matt Millen is he's the worst. He is the worst. Troy's not good. He's not good. But Matt Millen is come on, that's like comparing trash to dog shit, or something like that. There's a level, it's worse. That's the point.
So they're both just bad, but
Matt Millen's
bad.
Yeah, because Matt couldn't draft and he just sucked. So at least Troy can draft to some extent. He's just the other things, roster construction, signing free agents like Booner.
I don't even know if you can sit here and say he can draft.
No, you're wrong. He can draft.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, yeah. Killian Hayes. That was a great pick.
Oh, okay. So a GM has to hit on 100% of his picks.
No, he doesn't hit on 100% of his picks, right. But a Cade Cunningham, he was the number 1 overall pick no matter what. It was either him or Ben Mathurin.
Hold on. And he don't give credit to Brad Holmes for Penei Sewell. Noted.
I mean,
he fell to him. So
a lot of people wanted a lot of people, and it was very well known. A lot of people did not want Penei. Brad Holmes just went out in the media and literally just called out a bunch of beat reporters for not wanting Penei Sewell, and he still did it.
So Ivy. So we don't.
How about that core 4 picture? Do you have that picture there, Jeff, from that the Pistons tweeted out a year ago? The core 4
picture.
Do you have that? Those were all his draft picks. The core 4. I'm gonna go find it. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it was with Killian, I believe, Stewart, Sadiq Bey, and then who was the other one?
I'm going to find it and I'll send it.
Hold on.
That draft class though.
Hold on.
Saban Lee.
Marcus Sasser. Did you watch the game last night? Exactly.
Booner?
Dude, I haven't watched the Pistons in months. I really
can
don't
tell.
care.
I can tell
Yeah,
because
you
a
can
late
tell.
first round pick, Marcus Sasser, actually had double-double last night and played really well. And that's a
Do
late
you
first
think-
round pick. Is that a gimme too, Booner?
No, Sasser was
play
a good
both
pick.
sides.
I'm not
Oh, okay.
saying he's a bad like everything he does is
No,
bad.
Me
But
and you
he has
agree.
missed on things, and he has waited too long to trade guys. He has made,
There you
and
go.
maybe like Kool-Aid. I listened to Kool-Aid the other day on his podcast. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was Arm Tellem and them that were telling him, "Hey, we're not doing this." Maybe it was him. But guess what? Who it reflects on? The GM. Guess who makes the moves? The GM. That's what it comes down to. In this rebuild, it hasn't accounted for anything. And it's basically almost the second one, it feels like, in the Troy Weaver era. And now we're heading into the third one. And Jeff, you can't look me in my eyes and tell me I'm not wrong. Like,
No,
you're
right. But
so the people in the chat that are saying, Booner, you're wrong in the chat. Like, you
Hold
just
on.
want to hang on to strings and hope
No,
that
no,
it's
no,
going to turn around. It's not. It
This
won't.
This is where you lose me, okay? Because Troy Weaver constructing a roster, free agency, like there's quite trading players too late. I agree. But then you start getting into that he can't draft. That's where you lose me because to be a GM, you got to be able to do everything. I 100% agree. And that's probably going to be the downfall of Troy Weaver. And to be honest with you, like, you know how I feel. I'm out at this point. Like for Troy, it's like, okay, we'll see what you do this offseason. I don't expect anything to happen. And I could see Troy being, his departure this offseason or next season because there's no clear plan in place. But what I will tell you is dude can draft. Like, I mean, I don't, that's where I disagree.
Okay. Let's meet in the middle here.
You think he's like a great drafter? Or you say he's
That's
good,
where I was gonna
great,
say.
bad?
Let's meet in the middle.
Where
on
would you
that.
rank him on that?
He's good.
Okay,
definitely
I'll go good.
You wouldn't put great, but you think he's good?
I mean, just look at I just look at the players. He's Brandon, by the
Brandon.
way. Thank you for becoming
Shout out, Brandon.
That's
He's
where
not a
I'm at.
Brad
with it.
Holmes.
Like the yeah, obvious.
But when you're trying to win and
Take
change
the
a
Lions out of
franchise, you get a GM until you find your guy. He's not our guy. Why haven't we moved on? We just want to be good forever, and we're not even good.
Well, that's the thing, right? He sold everybody on a multi-year rebuild, and now you're multiple years into it, and there's no destination. Unless I said these guys turn into all-stars, which I mean, I think Ivy can get better, but
I agree.
It's tough, man. Like it's tough. It's tough.
I think people think that like me going at Troy, and I see this. I think this is why some people are saying I'm a clown too, which I think majority of people in there are saying Troy's a clown. So appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is I'm not saying Asar was a bad pick. I'm not saying Jalen Duren trading for Jalen Duren, that pick that was great. If you guys watched my pre-draft video a couple years ago, I did a bet video and I hit on like 8 of the 9 bets in that draft, and I said Troy Weaver will trade up to go get a big. Agree with that. The Cade Cunningham, the Jane Ivey. He has got 4 guys that are dudes, but guess what? It takes more than that to have a team, and he hasn't been able to construct a roster. He hasn't been able to, and like a guy like Brad Holmes, Brad does very good job drafting, and he's constructed the right team for it. Troy doesn't know how to do that. He knows how to draft guys that could potentially be good, but you never have a team to be able to see it, and that's where it's at. It's like you can't just sit here and wait on 4 or 5 guys for 6, 7, 8 years until they hit their prime. You can't do that.
Yeah, and that's fair. Honestly, Booner, we agree. Like I agree with you. That's where I'm at with it. But enough of the Pistons, man. Like
I'm glad we got that out.
It's tough. I wanted to just play some of the stuff because obviously the trade deadline it's over with, and I think free agency it'll be interesting. But I want to get to Lions here, and PFF came out with another what is it, like a 4-round mock draft that we posted on Crunch Time. You could check out on our Twitter at official CT Pod. And shout out to the boys, man, for holding it down over there. But here's the mock draft, okay? And as you can see, the first round pick, and they stay put. This is a 3-round mock draft to be exact here. Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon, the center / guard, the guy who's versatile. They draft him at 29. Tavondre Sweat out of Texas, defensive lineman. They take him at 61. I don't know if
dog.
Is he? Is he
No,
a dog?
At 61, yes. At 61, yes.
Okay, all right. Mike, I do absolutely love.
This is your boy, yeah.
Mikey Sanders still because of.
Would love that.
Yeah, and I know Boone, you love it, Michigan man. So we're on board with there. Marshawn Needland, edge out of Western Michigan. Yeah, 2 Michigan guys in this draft here. What do you guys think about just the initial mock? Now, we don't have to dive in. Obviously, the players we're going to do deep dives on and towards the draft, and we'll get really dialed in there. But just in terms of the positions, they take a center, defensive lineman, a corner, and another edge there.
I want to say this first of all. This draft, I don't really know much about Marshawn Nealand, but the other guys, I feel like this would be a home run if Brad Holmes went out in the first 3 rounds and got these guys. I'm Lucas brought up Jackson Powers Johnson, I think just the other day, or whoever did, and I watched some stuff today on him. We put a post out and looked more into kind of him. I'm starting to fall in love with him in the first round, getting a guy an offensive
Junkyard
lineman.
dog.
Yeah,
Junkyard dog.
That's a guy that I love. And I think like if we went offensive lineman, obviously after that, we're like, all right, we need defensive line in the corner. Devondre Sweat. I don't know if you guys remember when Nick came on the show, Nick Faber from the Honolulu Blues podcast or Twitter page. He came on and said, and I don't know if you guys remember in the Senior Bowl, Devondre Sweat had himself a Senior Bowl, and he dominated some dudes and some big time guys as well that were down there, some offensive linemen. And he said he stood out like big time down there with him. So Devondre Sweat I'm trying to think who's the other Texas kid that's going to go in the first round.
Byron Murphy.
Byron Murphy. Yes, I almost said Smith. Byron Smith. Byron Murphy. He's just been next to Byron Murphy this whole time. You see a lot of guys like that. Yeah, you see a lot of guys like that like they're with the big time first round pick. They kind of go unnoticed. Devondre Sweat in the Senior Bowl, he started to get noticed, and people know him. And obviously, Mikey, give me Mikey, bring him to the Detroit, man. Bring that man home.
Let me bring this up too, because and this is a good comment. And Lucas, you could break this down more in depth here. Like Lloyd says, he's not an outside corner; he'd be a safety in the NFL, which I think is true, right? Like for Mikey, he played what was he in the slot at Michigan? Well,
yeah, he plays slot and he plays safety too.
Yeah, so just a fit there for the Lions. I like the player though.
I would say if they didn't bring back CJ Gardner-Johnson, then that's where you go. But I'm with you guys as far as good player, and I know Kirby even put out on his social media, they asked him, like, if there's one player that you want to work with this offseason that's in the 2024 class, who is it? And he said Mike Sanders still. So obviously there's a connection there. I probably just with the Big Ten connection. So I don't think he's necessarily the best fit, but at the end of the day, if you're in the 3rd round and they go out and they sign some veteran corners, if Mike Sandersill is there in the 3rd round, that's just value with picks. So if they were to end up taking it, I'm not going to be mad at all, because in the 3rd round, I think that's a dude, and I think that's somebody that has a high floor. So I wouldn't be mad at it, but it's not the best fit. But at the end of the day, you're adding great depth.
Yeah, that's fair.
I agree with that. Actually, that's you want a corner
because
one.
Even like I know it's not ideal, but like
that.
Especially in like rundowns and in the goal line, like you can afford if you can rotate Kirby out of there sometimes, especially in the red zone. And you can put in Mikey Sanders still, who's better against the run and just kind of more fundamentally sound. He has a lot more experience. I know both of them played wide receiver, but that man was on a different level at Michigan compared to Kirby was at Illinois. So I think you just be a little bit more fundamentally sound option in some situations.
Is it fair to say, guys, if they're talking about drafting a corner, and this is only the first 3 rounds, but they got to get an outside corner if you're going to draft a corner. Like they need somebody preferably over 6 foot. That can play outside, that played multiple years playing outside corner. I know the guy at Maryland that Nick Faber kind of broke down. I forgot his name off the top.
Rutgers, I think.
Rutgers.
Rutgers. I need to go. I can go back on my notes real quick. Let me dive in.
Look at Boone. Sign
yes,
Gilmore.
Sir, Shift God. That's what they need to do.
Yeah,
I think Gilmore. Yeah, and it is a thing too. Remember? Hold on. I'm sorry, boys. I'm looking back.
Yeah, and I'm just looking.
And I posted one. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet earlier, but he's a free agent this offseason. Akella Witherspoon out for the Rams. He's gonna be a free agent. That man, he's not a star, but you want to talk about somebody perimeter corner that can make plays. Akella Witherspoon is that.
Last memory I have of Akella Witherspoon. The last memory I have of Akella Witherspoon is Amon-Ra 1-on-1, just putting that man in a blender. But that's okay.
But that's Amon-Ra.
But hey, that's CeeDee Lamb you're gonna face. Hey, that's what I mean. Like he's gonna get going.
Yeah, like hey, and that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think he's the solution on the outside just by himself, but he's definitely a good depth piece. The Lions, they need a longer corner to play in zone coverage. That's fair. You go back and look at his highlights when he's playing up against the A.J. Browns of the world, he's holding his own. I don't think he's the guy, but he can definitely be a guy that adds good depth to the secondary. And he's, like I said, he's going to be cheap. And he played with Emmanuel Mosley, so if they keep Mosley there, you never know.
What up,
Played under Mike Tomlin.
We appreciate.
Hey, I
that.
think it's and I could be wrong here. I couldn't find it in my notes. I think it's Max Melton though that he was talking about out of Rutgers.
Yes, it is Max Melton. Because actually, I got hit up by some friends of mine talking about Max Melton. Like they were like, yeah, check out Max Melton from Rutgers because he had a good game against Marvin Harrison Jr. Right? That was the guy.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think they kept it close too at halftime. I think it was like a tie, or they were up at.
Hey,
halftime.
speaking of those Buckeyes, and even the Wolverines
Chip
too,
Kelly.
Chip Kelly, and then I honestly I like the Chip Kelly hire, especially as an OC, but I can't think of was it Wade Martindale that you guys hired today?
Martindale,
is that the name?
Did you guys see the picture that I posted on Twitter today? He's a dog, dude. Let's bring in a dog. We just want some hard nosed.
No, he's a great defensive coordinator. He's one of the best, he was one of the best in the NFL during his time.
Hey, what about Chip Kelly giving up the head coaching job at UCLA to go become an OC in the same conference?
He was going to get fired. He was going to get fired.
Yeah, that's
why.
Why?
I hope not. I hope it's not.
You know what he can do? You know what? He could smell Ryan Day on the exit. That's what he's smelling, Lucas.
I hope Chip Kelly. I hope Ryan Day leaves and they hire Chip Kelly. Please
Chip
make
Kelly.
that decision. Please.
I don't. They need to go and sell their soul for Mike Vrabel. That's what Ohio State needs to do. If they get Mike Vrabel, it's chopped. Chopped. I agree with you. There's no chance. But they need a guy like that. They don't need a soft ass Chip Kelly running the program.
I'm pretty sure he went on Busting with the Boys a couple months ago and said that he probably will never go coach college because of the recruiting and all.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I'm just saying, like, for Ohio State, if they were able to manage to lure in Vrabel, that'd be elite.
I just want to.
It's not. Hey, hold on. Let me zoom it out. It's not.
Elgato.
It's not. Oh,
Elgato.
It's the field. It's the field. See.
Shout out Elgato.
Yeah, that is the field. That is fair. That is fair. King Horse says, Iafrate, we're all in the spirit chat. You killed it. Great job, my dude. Appreciate you, King Horse, for supporting it. That's awesome. I wanted to ask you guys this too, and I know Booner's answer because you just brought it up a little bit, and we got a couple minutes, so we'll move on in a couple minutes here. When you talk about Michigan and Ohio State, what they're doing, and I know Booner, you're going to say we won the Natty. All right, I get that.
That is at the end of the day.
But at some point, season's coming up.
The season's coming up. At the end of the day, it's just, hey, we won a national championship. That gets you through a couple years, in my opinion, and that's just a fact. That's just a fact. Like, that gets you through a good amount of time, especially when you win the Natty and you lose every single person on your coaching staff, essentially. So I'm gonna always just go back. Hey, we got a national championship. Teams, there's colleges that never get one in their lifetime. Like. That's how sometimes it's hard. And like, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, we're like the Alabamas or the Georgias. I'm not going to go into that, but we won a national championship, and that's what it is. You are
not that.
No. And I mean, if Jim Harbaugh would have stayed, yes, we could have been that. And that's kind of the side of me where I'm a little upset that he left, because it's like, you could have done some things like that. But I'm very content.
He's no Urban Meyer. He's no Urban Meyer.
All I want. No, he's not. All I want, and to be honest, I just want to compete next year, and let's get 10+ wins next season. I heard Spencer say like they're only going to win 8 games. We're not doing 8 games. Sharon Moore, you got this job for a reason. Go win football games still. Put yourself in a chance to get in the 12-team playoffs and still compete. I think they will do that. A lot of guys are back on defense, so it's just who's a quarterback. That's what's going to come out.
And I'm not saying that they're not going to make the 12-team. I honestly, I genuinely believe Michigan will be in that 12-team playoff, but I haven't seen their schedule, Booner. Is their schedule? Because obviously they had a cakewalk pretty much this year. It's tough.
Very, very. I mean, we open up, I think, with Texas at the Big House.
Damn.
Like, that's like right away.
What are you? The return? And if not, if he goes down, then they got the Arch.
And I'm pretty sure
he's going to Ann Arbor and lighting that place on fire.
Let me pull up the schedule real quick, because it's not just tough non-conference. Obviously the new conference that's came out. We got like every single tough team. They didn't just give us like the easy. So we play Fresno State to start. Texas.
That's even kind of compared to UNLV. Yep. Fresno State's a different level than UNLV.
So this is it. Fresno State, Texas, Arkansas State. That's a good one. USC at the Big House.
That's
Minnesota,
a win, though. That's a win.
And then go on the road to Washington, and then on the road in Illinois, at home Michigan State, and then you have to play Oregon, Indiana, Northwestern, and then you're on the road at Ohio State. So basically, what happens is The Big Ten just got new teams. We played the toughest USC, Washington, and Oregon. Like the
and
toughest
Texas
teams
too. I know they're not Big Ten, but
so it's tough. It's going to be tough. So it's going to be a battle.
I think you guys will lose 2. You'll like, and that's fine. They're not gonna. If Michigan's a 2-loss team, there's no way they don't make the 12-team playoff. As much I'd love to be like, if there's like a 1 team, like there could be somebody that's like 11-1. If Michigan's 10-2, they're gonna throw in Michigan 10 times out of 10.
Oh no, I agree with you on that one. I do agree.
I will.
We can break bread.
Hey, speaking of the Big Ten, I know somebody that played in the Big Ten at one point. It's Mr. Frank Ragnow. All right, and he's this is breaking news, kind of. I mean, in some ways, because we talked about this, right? Lions center Frank Ragnow is not retiring. This is per Brad Golly. He tweeted this out. Quote, I just need a few weeks to get healthy. The 27-year-old told Dave Burkett at NFL Honors, I just need some time to make sure I'm healthy, and then we'll get rolling again.
I saw a comment under it that's like, he's only 27. We act like this man's 32. And then when you really like take it into account that Frank Ragnow is only 27 years old, it does feel like we treat this man like he's running on dog years at this point. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's kind of, and it's obviously not his fault. I'm not taking a shot at Frank when I say this. I mean, with all the injuries that he's had, there's not surprise that there's noise around this. I don't think in my opinion, I do not see Frank Ragnow playing NFL football past the age of 30. I don't see it happening.
I'm convinced that at the end of this contract, which I believe he has 3 seasons left on it, I think that's where he hangs it up. That's why I was a little confused on why people were asking him at the end of this year, but he's a vet that's 27 years old. That's, like you said, it feels like he's like 40 years old, but it's that toe. That toe. If he didn't have this toe injury, even with other injuries,
he would be dealing with like just complete like body injuries. He would just be out of practice for like 10, 15 reasons. Obviously not literally that much, but his whole body's just shot. He's still playing at all pro levels. I don't think he'll ever.
Yeah, I just don't think he'll ever he'll never have a full weeks of practice again in his life. Mm-hmm. Like this year, like he had like 2 days off every single week on the injury report. Like he will be on the injury report every single week for the rest of his career. And
I'll real quick before I kind of give my take. I'm an idiot. He actually played in the SEC, so we just want to.
I was gonna kind of just let it go.
Yeah, I was trying to be smooth there.
We're just talking about Rutgers. We're just
Arkansas. Jesus. All right. Well, my take on Frank Ragnow.
Jeff.
Yeah. Got to give it your all, guys. You know, you're gonna hit some, you're gonna miss some.
You're gonna miss at some points.
Hey, I do want to say this about Frank though. I didn't even think about it, guys. He's 27, Lucas.
Yeah.
Like the way we treat this man, you think he'd be closer to 30 already.
You think he's Jason Kelsey?
Yeah, and again, it has more to do with the injuries. Like you hit the news came out, inoperable toe injury, all the injuries he's had to deal with, of course, and the surgeries, and he's one of the toughest SOBs on the Lions. And I think you would argue in the NFL, he plays with, he's playing with injuries. He's one of the best centers, and I argued this with you, Lucas, about him being, the best center in the NFL. Yeah. And I stood on business, and I believed it, and I still believe it, because when Frank's not there, this team is completely different. Like his impact cannot be measured. That's why we did the top 5 favorite players a couple days ago, and I had Frank up there because he is the linchpin in this offensive line. Like if he goes down, your offense does not look the same. You remember they were putting Evan Brown in there, and it wasn't quite the same. So for Frank and his importance, I agree with you guys. I think he plays another 3 years, 2-3 years. And at that point, it's like, what do you have to prove? And hopefully Lions can get a Super Bowl in that time. The Booner Pass, shout out. Maybe they can get a Super Bowl in that time. And then he could finally hang it up. But this is great news. Like the fact that he kind of confidently answered, like, no, I'll be back. I just got to heal up. But man, I hope he's around selfishly for the next couple of years. I don't want this man. I don't want this man retiring.
There's nothing selfish about that comment.
I want him to play, and hopefully the Lions can win a Super Bowl very, very soon, which we'll talk about later in the show, and then he can retire because he deserves it. He deserves to hold that Lombardi.
I don't know where the conversations came up of him retiring. Like, I don't know who was the one that kind of started that. And
I mean, I just think it's logic, man.
I don't think
it's not even being disrespectful, but you see players all the time, especially like look at the Luke Kuechly's of the world, look at the Kelvin Johnson of the world. I know they're 27, but it's just those players that you can argue at the top of the game that just walk away. And you have Frank Ragnow, who's at the top of the game, and he's dealing with injuries. Like if the Lions weren't good right now, if the Lions were still in the Quinn Trisha era, what
He would
Frank,
leave.
he would either leave or
That's
retire.
that's my point though, Lucas.
At that
Is
point,
why
like, he'd retire.
why would people, and I don't think it's logical to think, like, why would people think after losing an NFC Championship game, a guy who's been in Detroit for 7 years is just going to be like, hey, we're going to be one of the contenders for a Super Bowl next year. I'm just going to hang it up. Like, that's not logical at all. Why would he just say, I'm walking away? Like, he just went through all this pain this year and put his body through another year of it just to say, I just got this close to a Super Bowl and we're going to be right back there next year. I'm done. There was no I said it last week, like I could not see there's any chance Frank Ragnow, after losing in an NFC Championship game, being up 17 points, to say, no, I'm done. I just put my body through hell for the last 20 weeks, but I'm just going to walk away when we're right here and I have a chance next year to go win a Super Bowl. Dude, these are competitors, dude. Like Jason Kelce, he literally said it, like his body's done. And he's like, I just see my brother in another Super Bowl. I'm going to be back next year. Like, these guys don't have, like, their minds don't work like that. Like, yes, in former regimes with the Lions and Calvin Johnson's like, dude, we're not winning anything. Like, I my body can't keep doing this. I'm out. Luke Kuechly, he was in Carolina, which at that point they got close, and then they started to get worse. And he was like, I'm not putting my body through this with what's going on here. So, like, yeah, there's examples of it, but when you just lost a 17-point lead in an NFC Championship game and your whole team's expecting to come back to go compete for a Super Bowl, the leader of your offense, the heart of your offensive line, he's not going to go and be like, I'm done, boys. That was fun. I just put my body through hell, but I'm just going to leave again. Like, zero chance.
I'm with, like, Booner, when I say this, I don't want you to think that I'm disagreeing with you. I'm just kind of playing the devil's advocate role because you're like, I don't understand where people are saying this.
Screw the devil. We hate the devil.
Agree there. But there is players, and there is some logic to thinking, okay, Frank, you're playing at the top of your game, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but there could be potentially, especially he's not missing a toe, but he's playing without a toe. When you're an offensive lineman carrying around that much weight, trying to get in and out,
he did it all
gas,
year this year.
And I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. Again, devil's advocate. Why people are saying this, there could be potential drop off. There could be potential pain down the road. There's just things that he's so injured and battered that why would he want to return if he's making this much money? And then again, I agree with you, but there is that opposite side where it's like, longevity of my life, forget about my career right now. My life, is it worth it?
I get that. There's just no way he just went through doing that this whole year
and
to lose the NFC Championship game and be like, I'm not going to go contend for a Super Bowl.
And I agree. I agree.
That's just like,
look what the cat dragged in.
How are we, fellas?
Better late than
How's
never,
it going?
Gentry?
Let's have a fucking Friday. What up?
Better late than never, huh?
Yeah, you know, I pulled the opposite of the Jeff Iafrate.
See, why do I get pulled into it?
This guy's
didn't leave in the first 30 minutes. I showed up late to the first 30 minutes. So,
to be fair,
when Jeff left, though, at least Jeff went on that fucking interview and he crushed it.
No,
at least he didn't waste any time off air. Jeff went in there, he knew what the mission was, and he executed.
Absolutely, Jeff, you did crush it.
You stood on business, Jeff. I'm
super entertaining. But how are the boys doing?
Actually, what we were talking about, Mike, is Frank Ragnow had kind of shut down the retirement comments, and he's returning back next season. We were just talking about the importance. Booner's he's not surprised. He thinks it's ridiculous that people even assumed he would retire. I kind of lean. I get both points. Lucas feels like, hey, it makes sense. The guy is missing. His toes all messed up, and it's inoperable. Like, I get it. Where are you at with the Frank Ragnow stuff, and how important is it? He's back. He's back next year.
We talked about that a little bit to end the show yesterday, but it's super important. And I really didn't think after how the season ended this year that Frank was just going to walk away. Obviously, he does have a lot of injuries, and I hope that we build through the draft and kind of give him some help for the future, at least kind of groom his replacement, should I say. But yeah, I'm super happy to have Frank back. Obviously, he's a huge part of that offensive line, and just the way the season ended, a guy like Frank, I don't think he would just walk away given how close they were. And I mean, obviously Frank has battled some injuries, but he's not that old. So I think he's still got a little bit left in the tank, and he's ready to run it back for sure.
Yeah, I think that's well said. That's kind of where I'm at with Frank too. I don't think he was going to retire this season, but I do think it's a real conversation that over the next couple of seasons, Frank's probably going to hang it up. Like, I think
it's almost like a Ben Johnson. Where it's like you love him when he's here, but you know the day when he's leaving, it's going to make an impact, and it's sooner rather than later. Frank ain't playing past 32, 33 years old. As much as we would love for that to happen, that's just and I could be wrong, but I just don't see that being a possibility. You know what I mean? It's just appreciate while you have him. If he gets hurt and he goes down, it's one of those things where it's just like he deserves zero criticism at all. Like Frank, when he's out there, he's a difference maker.
Hey, Bearded Clam gifted 1 Crunch membership.
Shout
So
out Bearded Clam.
Go.
What a name, Bearded Clam.
I don't know if he meant the name like that, but
yeah, that sounds like is it what I think it sounds like? I think.
I'm
I don't
assuming if you're saying bearded clam, it's got to be a hairy vagina.
Okay,
Oh,
why
my
do you gotta,
that's
like, what are we
my
doing
mind
here?
goes
Why-
to. That's
like-
Come
that's
on,
what
Lucas.
Lucas,
Sorry.
come on.
I'm saying what we're all thinking.
Yeah, that's true. That is
Yeah,
true.
exactly. We were all thinking it. You didn't need to say it.
Well, we didn't know if we're on the same
Y'all
page.
do.
Now we can confirm. Now we can confirm.
Crunch time fans.
Hey,
Shout
yeah,
out
all
Low-key.
all the people showing support, man.
Fellas,
We got some
Low-key,
big things
Phil.
coming. I want to say this like before we kind of move on because there is something I want to show from Aiden Hutchinson because Dan Campbell said something to Aiden. And Booner, I'm gonna let you cook here because I think it's right up your alley. It's right up something you believe in. So, but in a little bit here, I want to say first, we got some plans for the draft. We're excited for them. Stay tuned. We'll come out with
Got the
announcements
news
for
today,
it.
man.
Yeah, we're trying to get trying to get our ducks in order, but stay tuned. I'm just a little tease there. We're excited for April, man. It's going to be a lot of fun in Detroit. But I want to show this video from Aiden Hutchinson. He, speaking of that Super Bowl media day, he met with some media and he had some interesting things to say just on his exit meeting with the Lions. And I think he's referring to Dan Campbell, but this is right up Boone's alley. What Dan Campbell said to Aiden Hutchinson. Here it is. Here.
It's the day after. He's like, we're going to the Super Bowl next year. Like, screw it. Like, I don't care what it takes because I think we
Look at that. Look at that, Boone.
I just want this.
There's no way he's not talking about Dan with that impression.
Yeah,
Aaron
Bob
Glenn's
Allen.
not talking that way.
That was
Sheila.
that was Dan Campbell he
Sheila.
was talking about.
Sheila, yeah, it's Sheila.
We're going to the Super Bowl next year. She's just yelling at Aiden. But Boone, what do you think about that, man? Dan Campbell's confident.
I mean, I got clowned 6 months ago when I created the Booner Path. People laughed at me, and guess what? Guess who they wouldn't laugh at? Who has the same mindset as me, the same outlook on this team as me, as the organization? That's Dan Campbell. And I understand he's the head coach and he has to motivate, but he's not wrong. This is a team that's going to win a Super Bowl in the next 2 or 3 years. And when I said the Booner Path 6 months ago, I said this team will be in the NFC Championship game. Guess what they went and did? They went to the NFC Championship game. This is a team that has young dudes who are going to be in Detroit for a very, very long time. And they're going to go out there and get a Super Bowl eventually. And next year, perfect year for them to do it. Everyone's coming back. The momentum's on your side. The Booner Path, all of that, everything is behind them. If you guys don't think the Booner Path is real, it is very, very real because these guys, the next 2 or 3 years, every single year, this Detroit Lions team is going to have a chance to go to the Super Bowl and win the thing. Every single year. Every year.
Back-to-back donation.
Hey, great interview with Spiro last night, Jeff. We all support you, man. Keep living the
Shout out IT Hips.
And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It Hips. Thank you for that, man.
Jeff, you say
out,
it
shout
hips.
out.
When you say it hips, I have confirmed one time it is IT Hips.
It's IT. It's
That's
IT.
IT Hips. Thank you.
Yep.
I appreciate the kind words, man. I do. Brandon Newling says Saturday, April 13th, we're throwing Dan Campbell's birthday party at our bar. Any chance of paying you guys to get out and live stream it? Hey,
April 13th. Hey,
April 13th. That's a Saturday.
let us know.
Hey,
Let us
Brandon,
know.
if you give us
know.
okay,
we're open to all business discussions.
DM me on Twitter. All I hear is
Well
Dan
said.
Campbell. All I hear is Dan
Very
Campbell.
well said, Jeff. Yeah, very well said.
We are open. Hey, doors open. Come on in the
Dan.
office. Come on in. Hey, we'll chop it up on
Doors
anything.
open. Doors open.
Such a
baby.
message on socials.
And by the way, you are correct, Boone. IT as an information technology. Yeah, that is my bad. All right.
You've been saying it for about a week or so now. On the last show I was on, I stopped the show and I think we confirmed it. I had to do it because I wasn't sure because you actually came on as a guest and you kept saying it hips. So after you left, we confirmed.
I thought it was
IT.
at Hips too. I thought the same
Yeah.
thing.
It's all right, boys. Shout out Brandon too. Shoot us a message on Twitter. We'll.
Brandon Newling, it's a one-off of Babe Ruth's birthday, a famous bar throws. Yeah, I mean, hey, if you have me on social,
Bro.
any of these guys, I mean, just
Shoot us a
message
DM.
us. Yeah,
I'm a Dan Campbell guy too.
Yeah,
maybe we can bring Dan Campbell.
But yeah, speaking of this though, I got some, I got some thoughts on this one. What Aiden Hutchinson said, okay?
Let us know, Jeff.
So Boone, I love it. I love the passion. I love the mindset.
He's gonna crash this party down.
I love the mindset that Aiden Hutchinson in this. Obviously, they shouldn't. And we talked about this, guys. Remember Super Bowl or bust? What is it? And I think I at least said, I think you got to make the Super Bowl because you already made the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
But it'd be great to make an NFC Championship game. I don't think anybody would be upset. But with when you have results like they had this year, higher expectations, of course. So yeah, they have to make a Super Bowl. That's what everyone's expecting. That's what Lions fans are expecting. But I don't expect anything different from players and coaches.
What do you mean by that?
They should think every year they're going to go win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like they should go. Yeah. They should think that no matter what. Fans think that as well. I don't blame them, right? Like it's a good football team. They're going to get better. But man, with this stuff coming out and like the Super Bowl discussion, they got to make a Super Bowl. Like because man, like let's say, and I'm just throwing things out there. Okay, I'm just saying. Let's say they win. I said this last week. If they win a playoff game and lose, this city will not accept it. They will not accept it. The city is expecting a Super Bowl appearance, which honestly, Booner, I'm leaning more on the side with you. I think they're capable, and I think it is a Super Bowl or bust year. But man, oh man, I can't wait to see this team with these types of expectations much higher than they did last year and see how they handle it, which I think they will handle it well. Dan Campbell's shown that. But, man, this is a different era. This is a different – it's like the VIP club. Like, it just opened up, and they're like, come on in. And we're walking in. We're like, whoa, like, this is sweet. We're getting downstairs, man. Feeling
now you got to sit down at the table.
Yeah, now we're like, yo, what up? Like, we got the Chiefs, the 49ers. We're like, what's up, guys? How you doing? Now we have to see if we can hang there. Like, there might be some things. Like, now you're going to have to socialize, act like you've been there. Like, I'm curious how they handle it. I am.
Yeah. And all bias aside, guys, like when you think about this team, even if you weren't a Detroit Lions fan, I think if you were looking at the Detroit Lions from an outside perspective, I think you're expecting the same thing. My worst fear is what happens with this franchise is they're about to fall, and I don't think it's going to happen. I agree with all of you guys. I do think there's a way the Detroit Lions win a Super Bowl, but they're going to be in that conversation where they either win a Super Bowl or they're going to be the Buffalo Bills when they're Super Bowl or bust, but they never make it to the Super Bowl. That's where they're going to be, one of the two spots. But just based off where this team has come from and what they've went through in the last couple of years, I do think they make it and they win a Super Bowl. So I'm not worried about it. I think everything he said, everything Dan's saying, it echoes what everybody in that locker room is thinking, including Sheila Ford. So I'm all in on it, and I don't think they are going to be that Buffalo Bills situation. I think they find a way to get a ring.
No, I agree too. And obviously, like you're setting the expectations high, saying something like that, but rightfully so. And I think when you kind of look back, the guys in the locker room, there's got to be people in there, like older guys like Frank. I mean, not older, but guys that are nearing towards that end of the career. And they're got to think, well, are we going to get back? Was this my only shot? Blah, blah, blah. So I think that is more of Dan Campbell, like instilling some confidence and kind of bringing that momentum into next year and giving some confidence in those guys, saying, this wasn't a one-year fluke. Everyone in this building has confidence that we are going to get back there. So I do love it for Dan. Obviously, Hutch was fired up. So I think when, that word kind of gets around and the players are all locked right back in again, it's going to be good for the team.
This is too, like, when you kind of see teams start to become good and kind of like the 49ers are now, get to the Super Bowl twice now in a 4 or 5 year stretch, the Chiefs, like, you lose in the NFC Championship game. I know we wanted to go on the run this year, but like this is kind of where you get to that point to where it's like every year that expectation is to do that. And I guess like I see your point, Lucas, with the Bills thing, but even then it's like you're gonna get, like, as long as you're still in this kind of race and you're still talking about, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl, we have a chance. That's where I think, like, Lions fans, we've never been able to say that, and I think that's where this team's like the direction's heading is now. Every year that is an expectation, is to compete for the NFC Championship and to get to the Super Bowl. And like the Bills, yeah, there's that expectation, but they've had that for the 4 or 5 years. I think the Lions, like you said, Lucas, they're eventually going to break down the doors and do it. It's in it might, like, I think it will be next year, but like it might not be, and fans might have to deal with that. And then the next year, but like that's part of in the NFL when you're building the franchise up from the bottom up, like you go through those growing pains. Like you had to go through losing an NFC Championship game for these guys to get motivated for next year. As dumb as that sounds, like that sounds very dumb, I know. That's just how like the game works. Like you have to go through like trials and tribulations or whatever it is, however the saying is, to be able to say, okay, now we know what we have to do. Like this was one of the youngest teams in football at the end of the day. You had so many rookies making a massive impact in an NFC Championship game to go to a Super Bowl. These guys are only going to get better and better and better. They're like 22 years old, most of these guys, 23 years old. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's what, 24, 25?
He's 25, and he's
like
the veteran of that defense besides Alex Anzalone.
So like these guys 28. They're still learning and early in their careers to learn how to win and learn how to get over that hump. When you see like the 49ers, those are all vets. The Chiefs, those are all vets. These are young guys on this line.
Even the Bills, man. Like I know that's what we said. You think about Micah Hyde, Jordan
Ravens,
Poyer, Davius White on the outside.
These are all vets. So like this team still is like taking that step, and this was just step one. Now they know how it feels to lose. Now they know how it feels to kind of, all right, this is what we need to do. That we know how to get there now. Now we have to get over that hump. So they're building it naturally. Some teams will pay their way. They're building it naturally to get that feeling.
Yeah. Before you go, Jeff, just to kind of piggy off what Booner said, I think, Booner, you just put it directly on the dot. Because I think when the Bills started to develop, everybody was like, okay, the Bills were a shit franchise. What did they just do? You go look at the Cincinnati Bengals, they did the exact same thing, just in different ways. The Bills, they added Stephon Diggs, and they drafted a quarterback. What did the Bengals do? They added Jamar Chase, and they drafted a quarterback who also had to play in college with Jamar Chase. The Lions, they did exactly that. Obviously not with the quarterback wide receiver, but they drafted Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they got Jared Goff for dirt cheap at the contract money. The Lions built organically. So to your point, Booner, it's like the Bills, but they're organic, and it's a different type of rebuild, but it's similar in the outcome. So I think that's why they get over the hump. It's all financially.
Yeah, and the big thing too, like when you look at sustainable success in the NFL, you need like, and I said this again, like you're going to find out a lot about Dan and Jared, because you go back and look at the teams that have made consistent like Super Bowls or made, been in the conversation. Like you brought up the Bills, like they have Josh Allen, but the thing they don't have, and I don't think we'd all agree, not a big fan of Sean McDermott. So like the coaching aspect of it, they're lacking. But the Chiefs, Mahomes, Reed, right? Like you look at the Eagles last year, Sirianni, Hurts, and obviously Hurts had a great year, but they also had Shane Steichen. Now you look at this year, like, and we're going to talk about the Super Bowl, but Kyle Shanahan, Andy Reid, and look at their quarterback play. Like if Jared, and I think, and we talked about this, and I think Jared, I would give him, especially in the NFC, I think if you look at NFC quarterbacks, there's a debate Jared's won. Like you could argue that at least with other quarterbacks. Like I don't want, if you want to say Jalen Hurts, well, coming off this past year, you might lean Goff, right? Like Stafford, he's getting older. It's based off this year in totality. Jared was healthier, had a better year. Like you give him the edge. So they got the quarterback. And I think Dan Campbell, you got a sample size of really good season. But you're going to find out a lot. If Dan Campbell's can be one of these all-time, like one of the best coaches in the NFL, I have no doubt what Booner's saying is true. They're going to be in the NFC Championship game again and again. Maybe they'll lose in the second round, but the next year they'll be back, and then maybe they'll make a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl. So all that has to come into play. Like that, that's just how that works in the NFL.
No, and as much as that pains me to listen to, as far as you saying like maybe they get bounced in the second round, it's going to happen eventually, Jeff. To your point, there's going to be teams in the NFC that just find a way. I hope it's not next season, but even if they lose in that second round, that doesn't take them out of being Super Bowl contenders, at least for the next 4 to 5 years. I think the next 4 to 5 years, to Booner's point, and the whole point of the Booner path is because there's a clear window, and even if the Lions fall short at some point, that next season they have the sustainability to just be right back in the same spot and capitalize on their mistakes.
This comment, guys, is this fair? I just want to see consistency with making the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think I like that.
That's realistic too, and it's like and you're in the, I say it all, like you're in the NFL. Like things change every. Look at the Ravens. It's taken Lamar Jackson and the Ravens so long to get over that hump to get to a Super Bowl again. Like to do that with what they have now, the Bills. It's tough in this league, but as long as you're in this picture for the next 4 or 5 years with Dan and Brad, the way Brad drafts and consistently, and you turn into the 49ers, you turn into the Chiefs, like you turn into these teams to where Now you're talked about in those conversations. That's all that you need to do. That's what when you hire a head coach and a GM, that your aspirations with that is we need to get to a spot to where we're contending every year. That's where they're at now. So next year, like Lucas said, if you get to the second round and lose, okay, we know we're like this is our minimum every year. We need to get in the playoffs, win the division, and go out and compete and contend for a Super Bowl. They're going to be. For the next 4 or 5 years, I said it, they're going to win a Super Bowl, but they're going to be top 5 in the Super Bowl odds every single year going forward.
Yeah.
That's just what it is now. And when you're doing that, you're out there to contend. You're going to be going for the 1 seed every year. You might not get it every year, but you're going to be going for it. There's going to be a lot of playoff games in Ford Field for the next 4 or 5 years.
I think your quote was 8 Super Bowls in 8 years. Is that on the table? Is that on the table?
8 and 8?
Yeah.
No, I said 2 and 5. I said 2 and 5.
2 and 5. I like okay.
Let's go 2 and 6. Give me 2 and 6.
Hey,
Okay, so you
like
added one.
Yeah.
Realistically, guys, if we're thinking about it, I know we compared to the Bills, and I'm not even close to saying that Hendon Hooker is going to be Patrick Mahomes. But if the Lions, they're almost kind of in that Chiefs rebuild where they're very solid in a lot of positions, elite in some, and then they have this developing quarterback that could take them to the next level to just keep that sustainability. So they have a chance if Hendon Hooker pans out and they move off of Jared Goff, that 4 to 5 year window can go to 5 to 7 years, in my opinion. So I think the minimal, it should be divisional round at the bare floor to Super Bowl for the next 2 to 7 years, in my opinion, if Hendon Hooker pans out. And I think, obviously, as Detroit Lions fans, that is completely different from the rest of the history. In my opinion, they're the new Buffalo Bills as far as the narrative of this is the next team that could dethrone whoever the powerhouse is in their respective conference.
Yeah, and I know when people bring up the Alex Smith, the Mahomes thing, their mind immediately goes to Mahomes, but I get what you're saying. It's like you're a playoff team already. It's kind of like Aaron Rodgers. You could even do Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love. Like, is that fair too?
Yeah.
Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers.
Somebody to keep him at the bare minimal at the same level, but with Hendon's arm talent and mobility, he has the talent to unlock some parts of this offense that Jared Goff cannot, and they don't need to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. They're up 17 in the NFC Championship game, but Hendon can unlock a different element in this offense if he pans out. Which
it might not even be Hooker. It might end up being a different quarterback that they end up drafting.
Completely true. Yes, you're spot on.
Like Goff, obviously, like you said, they could have won a Super Bowl with Jared Goff this year. Like they could still go do that. And I see in the chat someone said Hooker's already 25, 26. Like he's already at he's not. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I don't think that
but
matters.
It's just if you get to a certain point to where Jared Goff takes over for the next 3-4 years and he's just continues to win and continues to win and continues to do this, and you want to keep this rebuild and keep this thing rolling. You saw the Patriots, the 49ers, every good team, they're constantly drafting quarterbacks, man.
Yep.
Even with Joe Flacco in Baltimore, they drafted Lamar Jackson. Like, this is a thing where, like, good teams do that. And if Hooker's not it, and they'll know it, Brad's in the building every day, Dan's in the, like, they know if he's going to be good or not. And if they don't feel like he's that next step, then you just keep drafting. You keep drafting until you get that guy that's going to take over. Someone's eventually going to have to take over for Jared Goff. He's not your quarterback for the next 40 years. So there's going to have to be a replacement. It's Hooker, or they're going to keep drafting.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, the next 40 years, I mean, Hooker would be 58 or 68.
You see what I'm saying, though? Like,
no, I'm kidding.
Someone's going to have to take over, and you just have to be smart about it.
Yeah. I think it'll like
Daniel. Ohio State Buckeye future legend right there. Remember the name Aaron Nolan. Remember the name.
Oh my
God. No, hey Jeff, listen to me. Just listen to me for a second.
You just gassed Lucas up.
I know we got 2 Michigan men, and Jeff, you just kind of follow college football. You just like watching the game. You appreciate the game.
Yeah.
But Aaron Nolan at Ohio State, after Will Howard's gone, it's the Aaron Nolan show at Ohio State. That man, he's not the next CJ Stroud, but he's gonna be damn close. Damn close.
Wow.
Remember the
I don't want to let. Can we not bring Ohio State up anymore? We're talking the NFL.
Aaron Nolan.
What you have to say? With Gentry, what were you about to say?
Oh no, I was just gonna say it kind of piggyback on what Lucas said. I think it's like perfect the way Brad Holmes is continuously building through the draft to like maintain that long-term success and whatnot. And like you guys said, Hooker could be the perfect guy for when the time is right for Goff and his window does run up to kind of just Goff passes the torch to him, and the franchise and the team is really still built for that long-term success, like you guys alluded to.
Yeah, and even with Hooker, like when people, it's funny because people will be like, "Man, Hooker sucks. Hooker this." guys, we haven't seen Hendon Hooker, and it's not even. And I would agree if you want to say, well, Hendon's going to be this great quarterback. We don't know, and I think to assume one or the other would be ignorant because we have no. The only data we have, and I think Lucas, you brought this up because of what he was at Tennessee, which was a Heisman. Should have won the Heisman if he didn't get injured. Quarterback who tore his ACL. He lit up Alabama. Like, he's done some great things at the collegiate level. And you look at the physical tools, like, it's intriguing. But again, for Jared, he's having some great years in Detroit here. I mean, I know I brought up the best quarterbacks in the NFC. I forgot Dak Prescott, but that's
hey, for the Dak Prescott is not a threat until Dak Prescott proves he's a threat. That's how I think about it.
Rain.
Yeah, and I think for right now, it's Jared's team. Like, he's QB1, Jared's QB1. And what everyone's talking about is if there is a dip in production, like there's regression, then people will start bringing up, just like Shift God says right here. Jeff, it's just like when people are so quick to put him in once Goff has a bad game. That is ridiculous. I will.
It happened all year too, though. Like then it's frustrating. It's frustrating. Like Jared Goff, and I'm going to stick to it. Like, get used to his name. He's your quarterback for 3 years. Even if he has a bad week or two, he's going to be your quarterback. And yes, down the line, 2 or 3 years down the line, once he starts to get a little bit older, or he starts to kind of get more into, like, he might start to dip a little bit, and that's when you do make that move. But like, guess what, guys? Next year he's going to have a 2 or 3 game stretch where he's going to struggle. Every quarterback in the Tom Brady's gone through that. Patrick Mahomes has had that. Everyone goes through that in his NFL season. It's a 17-week season. I don't want to see that this year, even if we see Hooker go off or in the preseason. I just wanted let's move on from that. Like, it's frustrating.
I feel like that's how NFL is sometimes. It's like, change the quarterback, unless you have like one of the best quarterbacks, and it's like, okay, we're good. But typically it's like, oh, get another guy in there. Like, even Jared, he'll have a stretch. Like Jared, look at this year. He had a stretch where he was turning the ball over. Obviously, we talked about it. It was bad, but he fixed it. Excuse me. He fixed it. So like after that, it was good. And in the playoffs, he played pretty much clean. So for Jared, this is his team. And to be honest with you, I don't even want to break down or discuss Hendon Hooker's future until the preseason, until I get to see him.
And until you see,
I don't care. I really don't care. I like Hendon. I'm a fan of what he can be, but it's pointless. Like, Jared's going to get an extension. He's going to be your quarterback, and you're going to have to figure it out. And like Booner said, who knows? Like, Hendon might not even be the future. You might have to look for somewhere else if it doesn't work out for Jared. But look at this comment, Travis. Look, if Hooker doesn't play, we could always trade him for draft picks. Yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, the Jimmy G thing, right? Jimmy G was traded for what, a second rounder or something like that?
Yeah, but Jimmy G started. But the whole thing is, and the point where I really like Hendon Hooker as a potential option on the road, and I guarantee, because Brad and Dan always talk about intangibles, there's another NFL GM that sees that Hendon Hooker can throw the ball 70 yards. Hendon Hooker has the mobility to move in and out of the pocket and extend plays. And whether or not it's because if Hendon Hooker doesn't play, he's going to be dirt cheap. He's going to go for a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick. If he doesn't play, to Travis's point, yes, that's great draft capital. Then you can reuse to either draft another quarterback or add more pieces around Jared Goff if he's not having that regression that people think he might have. So I think that's spot on. Hendon Hooker intangibles with him is everything.
Look at this comment, guys. It's funny how people will praise Brad all day long, but act like Hooker won't be good. He's not going to hit 100%, but I get it. What he's trying to say, I do.
It's hard to hit on quarterback too. It's a tough position unless you're in the first round.
That's true too. That is true too.
Tough position.
I wanted to do something fun today, and this was suggested by Lucas, and I love the idea, is where we go through Lions players, and we're going to start with St. Brown here, compare them to around the NFL wide receivers, and we'll go around and say, you pick St. Brown or you pick the opposing wide receiver. And I think how it might be, it might, depending on how it's taken, if you pick another receiver, you're a hater. So good luck with that. All right, let's go around. All right, we'll start
off with the hot one. Justin Jeff. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, apparently that's a hot conversation and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's actually, to me, not even.
We can all agree, with no disrespect, Justin Jefferson over Amon-Ra St. Brown, correct?
At the same
I
price,
don't think it's
at the
even
same
fair.
price, yes. At 30
I don't think it's
not even at the same price, Bill.
No, the conversation was like, if you have Amon-Ra on the deal he's on now, or you're paying 30. But the conversation turned into
still would pay Amon-Ra 30 regardless.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. At the same price, 30 or 30. Who's one of the best wide receivers?
I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you're paying Justin Jefferson 30, I'm still taking Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Justin Jefferson's going to be one of the best ever to play the wide receiver position.
All right. I was just right. Hey, I'll let you guys argue. I can't believe that was even a debate, to be honest with you.
That makes Detroit fans look bad. That makes Detroit fans just like ignorant.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
I know
Sam
Flannel used to say this. Sam Flannel used to say this. Shout out to Sam. Some people act like only good players play in Detroit. And when he said that, I'm like, that's a bar. And he said that like a year ago. And you notice that, like, there's some people out there that are like, only Lions players are the best players. Like, no, guys, there are great players, but come on.
Lucas, you want to break this comment down?
Yeah, and Phil, to your point,
you can compare them if you have to pick one.
They're two different types of players, but at the end of the day, they can be two different types of players, but who's more talented? Justin Jefferson has shown you every season since he stepped foot in the league. He is one of the most, even as a rookie, he's one of the most talented players in the NFL. And Amon-Ra, you can say the same thing. But Justin Jefferson puts himself in, like, if he's a wide receiver, he's the Patrick Mahomes of the wide receiver position. Amon-Ra St. Brown, you could say, is the Joe Burrow of the wide receiver position. But the standard for NFL wide receivers right now is Justin Jefferson. It's not Amon-Ra St. Brown. And at the same time, that's not hating Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's just appreciating the greatness of Justin Jefferson. Even if he's a Minnesota Vikings wide receiver.
So we'll get done with Justin Jefferson. I think we all kind of mutually agree there. The next one I'm going to bring up, and we'll start. Whoever wants it first can take it. DJ Moore. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown better than DJ Moore?
Amon-Ra St. Brown over DJ.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown over DJ Moore.
I think DJ Moore has always been a victim of his situation. He's never been in a good situation. If DJ Moore was in a different situation, it could go a different way, but just you can't take that away from Amon-Ra, so I'm going to go Amon-Ra. It's a closer conversation than people give it credit for, though.
Yeah, perfectly said.
Shout out Travis, becoming a member. Appreciate it.
Shout out.
What about you, Boone? No discussion.
No, I mean, it's easy. Amon-Ra St. Brown over DJ
Yeah,
Moore.
I'm going to be honest.
Bears fans would go, like, I've seen that on Twitter a lot. Bears fans been like, oh, DJ Moore. He should have been in the Pro Bowl. He should have been all, like, there's no argument with that. Like, even put the stats up. Go look at the film, all of that. There's just, Amon-Ra St. Brown's a better wide receiver than DJ Moore.
Real quick, guys, just before we keep going in this, so I know how to measure this, are we going off the pure player that they are, or are we going off what they've done in the league? Do you know what I mean?
Let's just go off who you'd rather have, like, going into this year.
Who would you take if you're starting a franchise? You're drafting one of these guys. Who are you taking?
Okay,
I would say just going into this season. If every wide receiver is a free agent, who are you taking? Because if you did in the draft, then obviously, like, I don't know, you get into some antics on that.
Well, and you have to say if you're going to sign them, they all their same price.
Like, going into this season, would you rather have this player or this player? I would go Amon-Ra St. Brown over DJ Moore all day long.
I agree. I would take St. Brown all day. Next one I got is
Gentry.
He agreed.
I agreed.
I
agreed.
CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys wide receiver, huh? CeeDee Lamb over St. Brown. Hey, at least we're not going to say he's better than J-Mo's better than him, but this is someone else. St. Brown.
Yeah, this is fair.
St. Brown over CeeDee Lamb. Where you guys at?
I'm gonna go with Amon-Ra St. Brown just because, and this can sound slappy. And I honestly I'm closer with DJ Moore than CeeDee Lamb because of plain fact is CeeDee Lamb, his hands can get inconsistent for stretches. And in the run game, it just says the physicality lacks. So I'm going to go Amon-Ra, but if you want to flame me for it, I'm not even going to be mad because CeeDee Lamb put up 1,700 yards this year, and there's not that much of a hill for me to stand on statistically. But give me Amon-Ra just because of the all-around player he is.
I'm going CeeDee Lamb with this one. I mean, it's not like it's a brain buster by any means. These are two great wide receivers. I just think CeeDee Lamb's still got a little bit more to his game, and not saying that St. Brown won't elevate to that level, but obviously this year CeeDee Lamb led St. Brown in every statistical category pretty much. But I do like CeeDee Lamb, and that's nothing against Amon-Ra for sure.
Boone, this is tough for you, Boone. I know you're conflicted here.
No, this is easy for me. I'm going Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm going St. I'm going to tell you this. Real quick.
Right.
I'm going to give a really good point here. That's going to make you kind of sit back and say, okay, Booner, you're probably right. Think about this, fellas. Jeff, when we had this conversation, when you went on that Spiro's show last night, there was the whole thing about there's all these weapons and how can J-Mo get 1,400, which I want to put it on record. No one on our show said Jamison Williams was going to get 1,400. I went back and watched the film. Every single one of us said 1,000 yards. Lucas
I said 8 to 900.
Lucas said 8 to 900, and everyone else said 1,000 yards. So there was no 1,400. I don't know why that kept coming up. I loved the show last night. That was the only thing I didn't like. There was no I just kept hearing 1,400, and there was just no clips of it coming out. So I was like, where'd that come from? But and shout out Justin too. Want to throw this out there though. We're talking about you have all these different players that you have to get the ball to, correct? Amon-Ra St. Brown is on an offense who is the top 5 offense back-to-back years on an offense with the Sam Laporta, a Jahmyr Gibbs, a David Montgomery, a Josh Reynolds who had 600-700 yards this year. Jamison Williams, obviously he was the wide receiver number 1 very clearly. If you break down though this Dallas offense to this Detroit Lions offense, the Lions spread the ball out around way more than the Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion. You have Tony Pollard back there who, he had a decent season, but who is their backup running back? The Lions have so many more weapons.
Don't sleep on Dowdle. No, don't sleep on Dowdle. Jeff tried doing that.
Rico. Sorry.
Continue, Booner.
But you guys know what I'm saying. You lost me, Lucas, with this.
Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, Raheem Donald's kind of a dog.
My point's gone. You guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Honestly, Boone, that's a great point.
But
I didn't think about it.
Put Amon-Ra St. Brown in that where he's literally a number 1 option. Let me see how many targets did they get. What's the difference of targets? CeeDee Lamb got 100. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb got 181 targets, and Amon-Ra St. Brown 164. He got 20 more targets, and Saint played in one less game. He averaged literally 7 more yards per game than Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's in an offense where they spread the ball around way more. St. Brown on the Cowboys would probably put up more numbers and probably put the same numbers up as CeeDee Lamb did. That's the only guy they have to throw to is CeeDee Lamb.
You're spot on, Booner. You're spot on.
This is where it gets tough for me, guys, because I agree with Boone, and I think it's close. Because of Booner made some great points. I'm not even gonna try and argue back. The only thing I would say with CD is, as a wide receiver, he's more. You talk about St. Brown this year developing more as a deep threat. CD is that. He's kind of and to Mike's point there with CD. I don't hate it if you were to say CD. It's all about. I think you know how Neil says it's all about flavor. This is actually, to me, kind of the right thing to this would be the right discussion. It's about flavor. Do you like a guy like St. Brown, who's more of a short to intermediate guy, reliable? He's a yak. Of course, he has that. Or CD, who's kind of more complete. He can be a deep threat. They're both good route runners. You could argue, and I think you'd win that St. Brown has more reliable hands.
That's not close. That's not close.
Well, regardless, I think that if you're going to pick one, it's close. I would lean St. Brown just because he's so reliable. There'll be games where maybe CD's up and down, but they don't have these huge games where he gets 200 plus yards. That's fair. I'm going to lean Amon-Ra, but man, I'm not going to sit here and be I know Booner was it was easy. To me, I don't think it's as easy, but I'm going to lean St. Brown.
I'm in the same boat as you. It's not it's a coin flip for me.
Yeah, it's close, man.
Because where Amon-Ra is great in the slot, CeeDee Lamb is great at just being a pure X wide receiver. But I'm still taking Amon-Ra slightly.
You guys want to talk deep threat?
I'm not mad at Gentry whatsoever.
You guys want to talk deep threat in that? Guess what do you think their average yards per catch is?
But Booner, come on now. Booner,
I'm just saying I'm just saying it's 13 and 12.7.
But Booner, as a deep threat, it also comes in the routes that you run. CeeDee Lamb can run 4 60-yard goes. You're not running one of those with Amon-Ra St. Brown. If you know what I mean,
if it's deep especially threat, getting these deep.
And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Amon-Ra. I took Amon-Ra over CeeDee, but Amon-Ra is never making the catch against the Detroit Lions.
I'm not saying he is. Did I say he was?
That goes back to being a deep threat. Being good run after the catch is not the same as a deep threat because Amon-Ra can get more yards after the catch, but where he finishes that play, CeeDee Lamb is catching the ball at. You know what I mean? There's difference to it.
Yeah.
Remember, you guys see the same. No, you're good. I was gonna say, just you see the St. Brown podcast how he mentioned how he gets pissed about his yards per catch. He's he had 9 for 80, and he's He's like, damn, I got to like, that's just St. Brown though. He's reliable. And he'll have, again, he's up there in 100-yard games. I think someone made that point too. Zay Amon-Ra leads the league in 100-yard games. So like he's consistent and he's available, you know, even though he missed a game, but still for the most part, he's consistent.
20
so
less targets.
I'll take, I'll go with him. Yeah. I mean, you take away the targets, Boone. What is that? They had 20 more targets, like what, 200 plus yards more. I mean,
and
take away the target. Yeah, take away the. Yeah, it's like it's to me. It's like close. Like if you argue CD, I'm not gonna hate you. Yeah. But let's move on though. Okay, we're past that.
Yeah, before we move on, I honestly,
that's a good clip, boys. That's a good clip right there.
In my fantasy draft this past year, my big money league, Jeff, you know all about the team. I actually did pick CeeDee Lamb over St. Brown. So
it probably worked out for you, to be honest.
It did work out for me. It did. It worked out very well.
There. Another guy I want to bring up, and this one, I don't know. I'm curious how you guys feel about this one. AJ Brown.
Oh, this is the one that I really wish you would not have asked.
I knew I was going.
This is like CeeDee Lamb, but on a different level because CeeDee Lamb doesn't have Devontae Smith. If we're being completely real, if the Detroit Lions, if they were to be like a Madden fantasy draft and it's just the whole roster is completely swiped, I love Amon-Ra St. Brown. AJ Brown is a fucking animal. AJ Brown can do what Amon-Ra St. does in the blocking game. AJ Brown can take a 60-yard fade to the house. He can take a 7-yard slant to the house. AJ Brown is the definition of an X wide receiver. And if he didn't have Devontae Smith in Philly, I think he is damn near up there with Justin Jefferson as Tyreek Hill as the number 1 wide receiver in football. In Tennessee, he was a top 10 wide receiver with Ryan Tannehill throwing him the football and Derrick Henry in the backfield. Now he's with Jalen Hurts, who has already made him a top 5 wide receiver, and he has Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith to take away from his production a little bit. AJ Brown, in my opinion, is a pure talent, is a top 3 wide receiver in this league. So I'm not trying to discredit Amon-Ra St. Brown, but give me AJ Brown, and I'm taking it 10 times out of 10. No disrespect to Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's my favorite wide receiver in the league. But AJ Brown is just better. I'm sorry. And there's no disrespect.
What you think, boys? Where we leaning? Lucas
AJ Brown is a dog. AJ Brown is a dog.
Yeah, no, it's AJ Brown for me. Like, and for all the reasons Lucas has said, and if we are putting injury history, because AJ Brown has been banged up, it seems like all the time. But if you're putting that aside, it's got to be AJ Brown. He's a wide receiver that can do it all. And like Lucas said, once he got with the right quarterback, you've seen how much his game elevated. And this isn't a slight on St. Brown because obviously he's fantastic. I feel like we have to say that every time, just so Jeff said, we're not haters. But no, AJ Brown, he's beating St. Brown.
He's just a dog, man.
Yeah,
when you watch AJ Brown, you're like, he looks like a power forward playing the wide receiver position. He runs a 4.5. It does not make sense. He's like a Julio Jones clone. He's not as good and productive as Julio Jones, but you copy and clone Julio Jones, you get an AJ Brown.
Yeah, him and DK are like aliens out there, man. It just doesn't look right. Booner?
Boone, you take it
Yeah.
out. I'm not going to hate you for it.
No, this is my thought here, and I'm gonna throw this question to you guys as well with it. If we're talking about, all right, who do you want this year going into this season? Who do you want? Your guys' choice there, in my opinion. If you're gonna pick AJ Brown, you're telling me you're okay with, like, let's just go with AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown straight up on the Lions this year, and we'll run with AJ Brown, and he's better. I don't see it. I think St. Brown, if you're being honest, and with this, and this might be crazy, AJ Brown's a dog, first of all. He is a dog. I bet on him all season long. Every single week, I'd put props on him. We're talking about going to win Super Bowls, though. St. Brown, team guy. Or we're talking about team guys.
AJ Brown's been in a Super Bowl.
Hold on.
This
is what I got.
What happened this year? What happened? What was the one thing that you? No, talk about no. Let me keep talking, or you just gonna keep talking over me?
Go ahead.
Let him spit.
This is the situation. Is what was the one thing all year long you kept hearing coming out of Philly? What was the one thing? Someone answer that question real quick for me.
I will say.
Just answer the question. I don't want. I will say. I don't want.
Let me
no,
answer.
I just want. What was it?
I
just want like
it.
a simple. Because you're gonna say I will say this, that. No, I just want. What was it? What was the one thing in Philly that was?
Okay, if we're being real, it was the problem surrounding the coordinator. Who do they focus on? AJ Brown, because
what was the issue?
Listen. The problem was not AJ Brown. If you're gonna ask what the issue was, it was not AJ Brown. It was the offensive coordinator and both guys on the offense and the defense. Look at what Darius
You're not
Slay
answering
and
my
James
question.
Bradbury had to say.
You're not answering my
because-
question. Well, you're not answering my question. In social media, when everything came out, what was the issue? It was AJ Brown
Okay, you could say on
was
social
an
media,
issue, and
but
he had to
what
come
was
out multiple
the
times
social
and
media
say,
is shining to AJ Brown.
No.
because he's the
You're not
better
answering my
player.
question. You're just making excuses. He's making
It's
excuses.
the same thing with Stephon Diggs in Buffalo. What was the problem with the coordinators? But they're shining on Stephon Diggs because he's the 5-star wide receiver.
This
What are we
frustrating,
talking? AJ Brown was not the issue in Philadelphia, bro.
All right, let's go to the next guy here. Can't get
No,
my point across.
I haven't.
Can't get my point across. The dude just keeps going. Like
You
I'm
asked
not-
the
I'm not-
question, I answered.
And you,
Rebuttal.
you just went on a rant about it. It had nothing to do
I
with it.
talked for 25 seconds.
It
Rebuttal.
was that AJ Brown had to keep calling team meetings to tell and apologize to his team because he had issues going on with getting the ball. I don't want that in my locker room. I don't want that. If we're talking about this year, if you want Lucas, call Brad Holmes up and say, I'll trade Amon-Ra St. Brown for AJ Brown right now. Locker room guy, eh? Had to keep calling the locker room together to go out there and say, hey, let's get this thing going. Boys, I apologize. I've had a bad attitude. No, I want to go win a Super Bowl. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a team guy.
What are we talking about?
No.
Quit talking. He just keeps interrupting. I'm done talking. Let that man keep going.
I'm
all the
You
questions.
keep bringing up the Super Bowl when
Hey.
AJ Brown's not in a Super Bowl.
No, and I don't want to. This isn't like, because remember what we said before we did this. We said
Who do you want on your team this year?
Exactly. You're
And
going
I would rather have
Lions
Amon-Ra
and
St. Brown
and,
going
like,
into
winning a
this
Super Bowl.
season than
It's
AJ
talking
Brown.
about
after all
the
those
locker
years.
room, bro.
Who's the better wide receiver?
Who would you rather have on your team this year?
Who's the better wide receiver?
Who would you rather have on your team? I would rather
Well,
have.
I'm going.
State this year.
I think to me, like the better wide receiver is AJ Brown. If I'm being real, like I'll just tell you,
He might be a better wide receiver, but I would
Booner.
rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown
But
on my
that-
team this
but
season.
that's the whole.
Look,
Like,
Booner, can
that's
I
why we're doing
counterpoint
this.
this real quick? Can I counterpoint this, Booner?
Go
like-
ahead, dude. You keep counterpointing it. Keep going. Just keep
But-
cooking.
All right, so the problem was the OC, right? The problem was the offense. It was Brian Johnson, and I can't remember the defensive coordinator off the top of my head. But those were the two issues. So AJ Brown is leading the team meetings. What? Stop there. AJ Brown is leading the team meetings when the offensive coordinator, the whole locker room is sold.
He's not leading the team meetings. He's calling a team meeting to
was.
apologize for his attitude. He's not going like, "Hey boys, let's have a
You
team
can go
meeting. Let
look.
me get in the front." No, he's calling a players
Devi-
only meeting to say, "I apologize for what's been happening. I need
And
to be better."
that is a leader to go up in front of your whole team and say, you know what, guys, I was wrong. If you go and look back at the sideline tape, James Bradbury, Darius Slay, Fletcher Cox, even Lane Johnson were on the sidelines being conservatively
Okay, I'm gonna
aggressive
say this.
because
I'm gonna
their
say
OC is dog water and their
All right,
DC is
first of
dog
all-
water.
All right. First of all, saying a player who had a bad attitude for a couple weeks, calling a team meeting and apologizing to his team, saying that's leadership after he just had bad weeks with his team. Like, no, let's cut that out of there. First of all. Second of all, this is the thing. I'm reading the chat. I might be misinterpreting this whole thing too. Better wide receiver. Obviously, AJ Brown is a dog. He's one of the best in the league. I will say that. But when we started this, we said, what did we say? We said, who do you want on your team this season going
Yeah,
into
but
this year?
You're
That's
fat.
what I'm going off of.
But
And
you're
I would
fat.
rather have.
All right, hey,
That
that's
was the
fine. I'm
conversation.
not mad, Booner. I'm not mad at it
fair.
because Amon-Ra St. Brown is right there with AJ Brown, so I'm not mad
I'm
at
just
it.
saying,
I'm not mad.
that is exactly what we said. Now, if
You're
we're
cool.
going overall career, who is the best wide receiver career and what he is? AJ Brown, obviously. I'm not that stupid. I understand that. Everyone in the chat, there's people there. But if we're talking about who do you want on your team heading into this season to go chase the Super Bowl, give me Amon-Ra St. Brown over AJ Brown. We just saw those issues. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Be a great wide receiver. Let's see how many issues you have, though.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go. I'll go AJ Brown, and I'll give my reason why. I mean, he's got a 1,000-yard receiver. He has a quarterback that's ever passed for 4,000 yards, and he has almost as many stats as receiving yards as Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there's my argument. If you have a preference for what he does off the field, like that's okay. That's cool. Like I'm just going. I think AJ is a better wide receiver. Amon-Ra though, he's right there. So I'm not gonna hate it.
This right here, man, like it's not like, dude, like there's players all the time who call. It's not
Booner,
dude. Being
like,
a leader
that's
is
what-
like.
But Booner,
But
to
then,
your
okay,
point,
when
like,
you
listen-
do it and then it keeps happening, and then you guys go in the playoffs and lose, like, where's the leadership?
Listen,
Like, what are we doing?
like, okay, Booner, put it in perspective so we don't spend too much time on this. If Amon-Ra
I don't
St.
even
Brown
wanna
freaks
talk.
out on the sideline if Amon-Ra St. Brown were to freak out on the sideline, or you
He
can
wouldn't
name
because
Aiden
he's a great
Hutchinson,
leader.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, whoever, if they freak out on the sideline, which is bound to happen over the course of A.J. Brown's in his 8th year, 7th year, that's going to happen at some point.
I respect
The
him
leader
for
of your
admitting he's
team,
wrong. I
you can
respect
either
him for sure, but don't say he's the leader of the team. Like that's just that's
Jalen
just
Hurts
like,
is the leader, but who
Amon-Ra
is
St. Brown doesn't do
supporting-
that because he's the leader. He sets an example. Like what are we talking
But
about?
AJ
here?
Brown done as well. Like he's the emotional part of the game, man. Like when you're either way. Jeff,
Emotional
next
part of
player.
the game.
All right,
next
next
player.
player. I don't know. This one, hey, I don't know. Boone, Stephon Diggs. All right, that's where I was
You
going.
guys know where I'm going with this one. I don't really care. I had the same
Hey,
point.
I'm with Booner on this one. If
Oh,
you would have asked
man.
me before the season, I would have said Stephon Diggs. But just seeing, I'm not even getting into the attitude with Stephon Diggs, because to Booner's point, I think that is more large with Stephon Diggs and AJ Brown on. You can go, and not in just one season, you can see it 2 or 3 seasons. Not to mention Stephon Diggs through the last 5 weeks of the season was like the 83rd total in receiving yards, and you have Josh Allen throwing you the ball, and Gabe Davis wasn't even going off. Dalton Kincaid wasn't even going off. It was almost just like Stephon Diggs took a step back, and I don't ever see Amon-Ra St. Brown doing that. So this was a year that Amon-Ra St. Brown, in my opinion, passed Stephon Diggs.
No, I agree 100% too. Like for you said, all the reasons you said, you've seen Diggs go AWOL for half the season and towards the end of the year, and you've seen that multiple times. And there's really no excuse when you have a terrible wide receiver core like the Bills have had, and you've always been that number one guy, to constantly just come up missing. So like you guys said, St. Brown will never have that bad of a stretch. He will at least be involved in the game plans some sort of way, and he'll never be down in the dumps like Diggs was to end this year. Completely AWOL, and was a big reason that the Bills' offense didn't look right and was relying so much on Josh Allen, and even James Cook emerged towards the end of the year. So, no, I'm taking St. Brown over Diggs.
That was impressive.
King's the GOAT. The GOAT.
No, but I think, I mean, Boone,
you guys know where I'm at. I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna. You guys know where I'm at.
Yeah, I'm with Boone too. This one, less of a discussion.
I just think it's funny that like some of these arguments are, well, he's been a problem for multiple years.
Booner,
now we can use that argument.
Do we want to have the argument, or do we not want to have the argument?
No, my argument was dumb before. It had nothing to do. Like, no.
Listen, if you want to have that argument,
let's move on, Jeff.
What do
you were saying as well? No, I'm not having this argument with you
because I'm going to bring you facts, and you're not going to be ready for it.
No, you're not.
Why did Stephon Diggs get traded out of Minnesota? Because he was an issue and requested a trade out of Minnesota. What happened at the beginning of the season last year? Stephon Diggs was causing a problem.
Guess what?
What happened through the whole season of this year? Stephon Diggs was causing a problem. AJ Brown was the first time you heard about him, and it was because he had a bad OC.
It's not going to change anything. You just keep talking.
And I'm speaking relevant facts.
Oh yeah, and guess what?
AJ Brown. But I'm speaking facts, not
AJ Brown.
These things actually happened.
All right, Jeff, can I talk? Do I have permission? What are we doing here?
Go ahead, Bo. You're good. Go ahead.
Is AJ Brown not in conversations to potentially get traded again during this draft? Am I crazy? Did I not see that? No. Answer the question. Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
You saw it by JPA football. Saw it by JPA football.
He got asked the question. He got asked the question, and he said, "I don't control anything. What happens to me?" He knows.
He didn't in Tennessee either. And Vrabel even said, "I do not want. If AJ Brown is off the team, I'm not the head coach, and it's for a reason." And then when they traded AJ Brown, Vrabel was pissed, and it's for a reason.
JPA football caught the stray, right?
JPA. I'm ready to.
No, Boone.
We're having sports talk, Booner.
Yeah, Boone.
Where'd I go?
Yeah, what? Wait.
Why'd I get canceled, bro?
I'm not. This is making me mad. Lucas he's just not listening to any points. He's just JPA football. No, it's a fact that AJ Brown potentially could be out of Philly. Quit ignoring the facts. It's not JPA football. It's a fact.
Where did you see that source?
They asked him a question in an interview about him getting traded out of Philly because it's been a conversation, and he literally said, "I can't control it. If it happens, it happens." Like he knows that it's a fact, and the reason is because he was such a bad locker room guy.
Okay. I disagree, but
no, you disagree, but it was the truth, and you're trying to act like I'm lying, and I'm not bringing facts.
I'm not. But if
that's a fact.
If we want to go back to the fact, the reason why AJ Brown said
3
that
teams in
statement,
4 years potentially.
If AJ Brown says
Stephon
that
Diggs is the
statement,
guy.
if AJ Brown says that statement, it's probably because he's thinking exactly what happened around Tennessee when there were trade rumors popping up. Like, why would I get traded from Tennessee? Head coach comes out saying head coach comes out and says we are not trading AJ Brown. So AJ Brown doesn't think he's getting traded. He gets traded. So do you think AJ Brown realizes more than anybody? The trade rumors come around, to your point, from being a bad teammate. But if you really think Philly is about to trade AJ Brown, if they do, they would be demented. They would be demented. AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts does not want AJ Brown traded. I can promise you.
I'm done with this conversation because it doesn't make any logical sense. AJ Brown is okay with those situations, but Stephon Diggs is about to be on the third team
because
just like AJ Brown. But my point about AJ Brown's like, no, let's get to the next point here. We're taking too long on this topic.
That's fair. We'll agree to disagree. We'll agree to disagree.
We'll agree to disagree.
We won't agree to
disagree. We'll agree to disagree.
We'll just move on. Stop talking. We'll just move on. I love you.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
All right, let's move on to Super Bowl talk. All right, we're done. We're past this. We'll let the people decide. All right, who you guys would rather have?
I love you,
Brown
Booner.
or St. Brown?
I love you too.
Yeah. He goes, you're bringing up JVA football, and I love Boone, dude. You're funny.
Realistically, they were both just opinions. No one was wrong. You could feel either way, so there's no reason.
I'm not mad at Booner for picking Amon-Ra.
All right, let's move on to Super Bowl talk, guys. I mean, San Francisco 49ers play the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday in Vegas, and we haven't really talked about it this week, and we haven't talked about it off the air, so I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on just like how do you see the game playing out? And I know for me, in these type of games, I tend to always lean kind of like what I talked about earlier. It's a common theme: head coach, quarterback, and off a bye week, Andy Reid, you kidding me? And that defense, one of the best defenses now, and how they've been playing in the NFL. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I think Brock Purdy, it's been a great story. And Kyle Shanahan, I won't think any less of him when he loses this Super Bowl because I got the Chiefs winning. I won't think any less of him. I think he's one of the best head coaches in the NFL. It's, this is a quarterback-driven league, and Brock Purdy had a great year, but he's not Patrick Mahomes at the end of the day. He's just not. So I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. I think Kyle Shanahan's still a great head coach, but I think it's going to be too much. There's too much experience on the other side for the 49ers there. So I'm leaning Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same thing as well. We talked about it yesterday a little bit. It's just when you get in games like these, it's just you have the Patrick Mahomes and Andy, who's already won 2, and they've already have that experience on their side to where if they do take the lead, and we kind of went back and forth a little bit on it yesterday. But I do think like the Chiefs, they know what it takes to get the job done. And especially Steve Spagnuolo with his defense, I think they've been playing on a different level. And we've seen, and I brought this up yesterday, Jeff, and Lucas kind of was on the other side a little bit, but like the 49ers, they struggled versus the Lions. They had a 17-point deficit. The Packers, they should have lost that game as well. Like that you saw the very last possession and the way the Packers played that. They basically lost that themselves. Before that, they lose by 30 to the Ravens a couple weeks before that. Like they have been in tough games. And I think if you're in a game like that versus the Kansas City Chiefs in a Super Bowl versus Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, right, Steve Spagnuolo, and you have you do what you did versus the Packers, the Lions, and the Ravens, you're not going to win that football game. And I don't think it ends up being I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to be a blowout, but I think the Chiefs take advantage of that, especially a team that's been in this position a lot. So I think that's where like what's the record for Kyle Shanahan when he's losing in the fourth quarter? I think the Lions were like one of the first.
He single-handedly put it up this year. It's only been in this year.
No, I'm pretty sure if they're trailing in the fourth quarter, he was like 1. He's
like 2 and 30 something, but the 2 wins were from the Packers and the Lions. To your point.
Yeah, so like that, I get that, but like a team like the Packers and the Lions, the Packers obviously they weren't even the best team in their division, and number 2, the Lions, this is their first year here with the young football team. You're going up against an experienced Chiefs team. If you're losing heading into the fourth quarter, there's zero chance that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid give that lead up. And I think with that, I think the Chiefs find a way to win this game.
Yeah, Booner, and to your point, or go ahead, Gentry, you can go ahead.
Oh, no, you're good. I was just going to say, and for the 49ers, their biggest thing, Christian McCaffrey having a good game, and the Chiefs have struggled defensively against the run. So, like, if you can slow down Christian McCaffrey a little bit, then you got their secondary, who has been playing unreal, 4th in the league this year against the pass. So you got to make Brock Purdy uncomfortable, make them throws, potentially try and take Christian McCaffrey out of the game. Obviously, easier said than done. But the 49ers secondary, you've seen it all year long, has been suspect. So I'm going with the best quarterback in the league and just tearing up that secondary all game long. Obviously, Pacheco is going to have a big game to control the moment. What was that?
I was singing, Gentry. I was just doing a little ad lib off you.
Obviously, Pacheco is going to have some sort of the impact, maintaining the clock and whatnot. And Kels is going to have some problems with Fred Warner chasing him around. So I think Rashee Rice, Patrick Mahomes are in for a big game. And you never bet against Patrick Mahomes. It's the reoccurring theme that went from Tom Brady and just got passed down to Patrick Mahomes so instantly. So I'm rolling with the Chiefs here. And they're getting points. Like, that just never happens. You got to take it.
Yeah, I would wish to say that I would agree with you guys. I will say, Booner's point, if the Chiefs go up in the second half, I don't see a way that the 49ers come out and win that game, but I don't think that's going to be the case. In the first half, especially with both teams having game plans and 2 weeks of study, I think there's ways that Kyle Shanahan, with this explosive offense, finds a way to exploit the Chiefs' defense, especially with the safeties. They're solid, but they're not anything crazy with Justin Reeves and Mike Edwards. I think there's a way that the 49ers get up by a touchdown, possibly 10 points on the Chiefs. And with the defense that they have, they keep it to a 3-point game. And I have the 49ers winning. As much as I always say, don't bet against Mahomes. Don't bet against Andy Reid. It's the new Belichick and Tom Brady. I think this is the one team coming off a Super Bowl loss with the San Francisco 49ers to the Chiefs. They have a fire lit under their ass. They have an edge. They have a chip on their shoulder, especially to a lot of people are saying what Booner is saying. And it's completely true. You could argue that the 49ers should not have walked to those games with W's, but the plain fact of the matter is they did. And they know that as well. They have 2 weeks to prep against this Chiefs team that they're familiar against. They got a strong defense on the other side, but statistically, the Lions defense in the playoffs was better. So I'm going to take the 49ers, but it's going to be close.
No, the 49ers as a roster, it feels like they're built to try and to go out and win, but it's something about having a guy like Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going to be honest, guys, if he wins this Super Bowl, wins another Super Bowl MVP, he'd be, 28 years old. He'd have 3 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs. He has 2 regular season MVPs.
The GOAT.
Guys, I don't want to. I think Brady. Brady's the GOAT.
Yeah,
no, Brady's the GOAT. But just
take that
where
word out of
he's
your
at.
vocabulary for now.
If you
Give it
look at
7 years,
if you look at Brady from when he started to 28, Brady got a lot of those Super Bowls the back half of his career for the most part. Like all the accomplishments, of course, he has more MVPs at this moment and all that. Like if Mahomes plays till he's close to 40, he's going to have more passing yards. He's going to have more passing touchdowns. Like if he's close with Super Bowls, and let's say he ties him in MVPs and Super Bowl MVPs, whatever the case is, or just close to Super Bowl MVPs. It's like Jordan. Like Jordan's recognized as the GOAT in basketball. He doesn't have as many championships as like Bill Russell or other guys, but he's the GOAT. But like, is Patrick Mahomes? Where's Patrick Mahomes heading in his legacy if he wins the Super Bowl?
To me, and Booner, I'm interested in what you have to say after this. I agree with you, Booner. If Patrick Mahomes, even if he wins the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, Tom Brady is still the GOAT.
Yes.
But if Patrick Mahomes with this roster goes up against this San Francisco 49ers team and wins a Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP after what he went through this season, that is the best quarterback I've ever seen with my 2 eyes. I wasn't alive to see Joe Montana, but I think it's pretty, like, it's a narrative that at this point Tom Brady is better than Joe Montana. So those are the 2 you're comparing against. I've seen Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the best game manager I've ever seen in my 2 eyes. That's a skill. That's a skill. So I'm not taking away. But Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback position with this young, if he gets 3 Super Bowl rings and the same amount of Super Bowl MVPs, I'm sorry. That's the best quarterback I've seen in my lifetime. And I've watched Tom Brady for most of my lifetime. The accolades are different, but just best pure player, best pure quarterback, it's Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. And that's mad respect to Brady. He would still be considered the GOAT. But if Mahomes gets 4, because he's not taking
all right, all right, he's at
if he wins
2.
this one, he'll have 3.
So, like,
No, I
let
know,
me
but
cut
I'm
you guys
saying if
off real quick.
I think
okay?
Mahomes gets at least 2 through Tom Brady
Guys,
played till he's 40.
guys,
Yeah.
So
guys,
if Mahomes gets
let me
4 by he's 35, give me Mahomes.
by 35. Like, listen, fellas, and Jeff, I don't think you understand. I know you're saying, well, if Mahomes, like Tom Brady got most of them on the back end. That's just not true either, because Tom Brady, by the age of 28, had three Super Bowl rings and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. By the age of 28, guess how old Patrick Mahomes is? He's
that's
28.
my point.
So if he gets that, yeah, he has 3. But you did say a lot of them are on the back end, which I do understand. But by the time he was 28, he already had 3 and 2. So,
No,
like, yes, I get Patrick Mahomes will have 3 and potentially 3 Super Bowl
and
MVPs.
more Super Bowl MVPs.
I
and
get
more
that.
MVPs.
I get that, but you still have to go. He still has to go out there and get 4 more to even compare to Tom Brady. Like, you still have to go get that 6 or 7. In my opinion, I think you have to at least get 6. And he does have a long career ahead of him. Like, yeah, I agree with that. He's on track. He's the closest player that's on track to doing it. And I will say this, skill wise and what he does and how he plays. Yes, like that's undeniable. Tom Brady did not have the skill, but when we're talking best ever, like, LeBron probably is a better 3-point shooter and probably has some better skills than Michael Jordan did. But guess what? Michael Jordan went out there and got 6 and won all those MVPs and went out and dominated the game. And that's what Tom Brady did, is he dominated the NFL until he was 46 years old, 45 years old.
Mahomes, look at the last year. He's
it's
dominating the NFL.
He is doing that, but like halfway through his career, you can't just say, hey, he's taking it.
I'm not
like,
saying
he's the closest player to be on track to doing it, which I agree
let
with.
me ask you this question, and this is honestly like me asking you a question. It's not taking a shot in any way. Where do you take into account, okay, Patrick Mahomes is getting paid, I'm making up, I don't know his exact contract, but it's exponentially more than Tom Brady was known for taking pay cuts. So when you look at that and you realize the teams that are constructed around Mahomes and teams that are constructed around Brady, do you factor that in the equation at all, or you just look at okay?
No, to me it just has nothing. It's
that's where. And again, I'm not
what did you do
wrong.
and how many did you win and what did you, and the MVPs and ETN put it in there. Brady had 2 MVP caliber seasons at 43 and 44. If you guys don't remember, about a year or 2 ago or 2 or 3 years ago, I can't remember the exact year, Tom Brady got snubbed from an MVP, like big time snub. Like, he had all the best stats in the NFL, and he should have another MVP under his belt at the age of like 43. I think it was the year that happened. So this is a guy where we could go into Patrick Mahomes going out there and putting the stats up, but like Brady has done that as well, and he had the longevity, and it's like, I get it. Like, I'm with Flannel Sam. Patrick Mahomes has all the skill more than Tom Brady. That's a fact. But guess what? You have to go out there and put the numbers up, and you have to go get the Super Bowl wins and the MVPs, and Tom Brady did it till he's 46. I think that's hard to beat. I don't see Mahomes doing that. I see him being done at 30.
Mahomes won't last till he's 46. He's way too mobile. Yeah. So
that's why it's hard to chase him down. That's why it's hard to chase him down, man.
I respect it. I respect it.
Let's give some final scores for this game. We'll get into
I didn't even think of that.
It's okay. You can come with it. You can come up with it on the fly. I just want to give out a final score here. For me, I'm gonna go 27-20 Chiefs. That's what I'm gonna do. Yep, 27-20 Chiefs.
I guess the score prediction right for the NFC Championship, 34-31. However, I didn't pick the winner right. So hopefully I can carry this into the Super Bowl and change it up. I'm going to go 27 49ers. I'm going to go 24 Kansas City Chiefs. Is that what you said too, Jeff?
27-20.
Oh, you said 20. Okay, so I'm going 27-24.
Okay.
I think it's a 3-point game.
I'm going 28-24. Take the Chiefs with the points either way, even though they're winning. Can't beat it. Patrick Mahomes with the points. Any opportunity you get, you take that. Chiefs are winning 28-24.
Boone?
What about you, Boone?
I'm going to go the San Francisco 49ers 27.
Okay.
And the Kansas City Chiefs 34.
34.
34-27. The Kansas City Chiefs win. I think the over hits. I don't know what it's at. I think it's about 40. Let me pull it back up here real quick. I just had it all here. 47.5 over hits, but I think it's a high scoring game. I know typically we could say it's low scoring. See, to me, it feels like it's going to be a high scoring game, to be honest. And I think 34-27. I saw someone today on the Pat McAfee show, a betting guy, say that he got a bet that was both teams to score over 20. And I've been looking for it. So if anyone knows where to get that, I would love to take that bet because I do think both teams are going to score over 20 on Sunday night. 34-27 though.
Do you got any props you like, Boone? Like some more props you like?
I do have. I have some. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You got 5? You got 5? Okay. Let us know.
So the first one I have here is a 49ers one. I feel like so CMC Christian McCaffrey was like -210, which for a touchdown. So obviously you can't bet that straight up, but I added him touchdown and 70 rushing yards, which I think happens. 70 doesn't seem hard at all for a guy like him. -126, so it's almost even money. And if you want to go to 80 yards and kind of get exactly even money, you probably could do that. But that's going to be one that I take, and I'm going to bet on that on Sunday night. I'm also on the defensive side of the ball. 2 guys, I think there's 2 guaranteed sacks in this game. I think Nick Bosa gets to Patrick Mahomes one time. He's -104 for a sack. I'm going to take that. And then also, I think Chris Jones gets home as well.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, you better put him on there. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's +132. And I know a lot of people are, he's plus money. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, take 2 sacks. Like, you got to look at stars in these games. And I think Nick Bosa gets home. I think Chris Jones gets home. Touchdown score. I'm gonna put more out as the weekend goes on my Twitter at Booner Sports. And we'll retweet it. If you guys see the things up above us there, I will retweet it from the official our Twitter page as well. But Travis Kelce, fellas, +100 to score a touchdown. I don't see him not getting in the end zone on Sunday night. Do not see it. Like he gets in the end zone. So +100, that's great odds. I thought he would be like -120 or something. Also, obviously with my score predictions, Chiefs money line +110, taking it. I'm going all in on that. Might be my biggest bet of the Sunday night is Chiefs money line +110, and as well as the Kelce touchdown +100. Those are going to be my 2 biggest ones. And then we talked about it yesterday. Patrick Mahomes over 26.5 rushing yards. Quarterbacks in these games, they always put their everything out on the line. Patrick Mahomes will have over 26.5 rushing yards.
Yeah.
And I'll have some more. And I think Gentry and I are going to come together throughout the weekend and we'll post it on Sunday. We'll do like a parlay. Maybe me and Gentry each will give like 2 or 3 legs to each other and we'll put one together and have a parlay as well out on Sunday.
Yeah.
Hey, I honestly, I love all those. The only thing I don't like about what you said in the last 5 minutes, Booner, is the 10-point spread you think the Chiefs will have. I think the line is at 2.5. And it's for a reason. It's going to be a 3-point game. I don't hate the Chiefs money line because I could easily see the Chiefs winning the game. But 10 points, no way.
Should I switch it to 34 to 31?
What's up?
I switch it 34-31.
This is going to be a field goal game. It's going to be a field goal game, Booner.
I think the Kansas City Chiefs, I think it's a 27-27. Kansas City's Chiefs score a touchdown. Travis Kelce at the end of the game to win the football game.
27-27, Booner.
Yeah. 27-27, Kansas City Chiefs score a touchdown to end the game. Travis Kelce make it 34-27, game over. 49ers have to go score a touchdown, they get the stop, win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs do.
I just think it's a 3-point game.
Imagine if it happened just like I said it. Oh my gosh.
I'm with you. Kelce definitely gets in the end zone.
I wanted to get to the poll results here. St. Brown 80-20.
Up the numbers.
80-20.
To St. Brown over AJ. Yeah.
Wait, it's 80 Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
No way, bro. Hey, I love all you guys, passionate Detroit fans. I'm not gonna hate on y'all.
Hey, now
come on. Yeah, there you go, Jeff.
I want you guys to know me and Amon-Ra St. Brown are friends, so keep disrespecting.
Well, stop being biased.
Hey,
right?
it's no disrespect. It's to what I said with Justin Jefferson earlier.
Yeah,
hold on. St. Brown, my favorite receiver in the league.
Hold on, let me take this because I hate.
Go.
I hate this because I don't suck a Lions player's balls. Doesn't mean I don't like them. I'm not saying you are, Booner. It's not
saying that you don't like him. I understand you have his jersey.
No, because I hear this often. It's like it's like I'm wearing the damn jersey. Like I love St. Brown, but holy shit! Like that it's not you, Booner. I'm not going at you. I hear this like all the time. And that's why I said the quote. It's like, guys, good football players play outside of Detroit.
Okay, well, can we take a step back on your side then? Can you take a step back? And can you guys maybe just kind of like envision why maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown this year passed AJ Brown up and like other factors?
Let's hear it.
No, I'm not going to go into this again. We're not doing this again because I'm just going to get mad. I'm just saying like, yeah, it might be like 80% of the people did say, and I get it is a Detroit show, but like, maybe there is something to it, and you guys are just blinded to it. Like the Justin Jefferson thing, we all agree on. I would rather have Justin Jefferson. I'm not blinded
to with I'm
just saying maybe there's an actual argument behind.
Yeah,
Sometimes Sometimes I get in an argument with Lucas, and it's just like there's like that, like those horse races where they just have the blinds here, and he's just like blind, like I'm not gonna ever look at your side. That's what it's like right now.
But no, to be honest, Boone,
like AJ Brown isn't that much better than Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No one's
I
saying
agree
that.
with you. Yes,
No one's
yes,
saying
but
that.
he was better.
But here's you though. It's like the blinders of Lions players are better than everybody
Not because
else.
I said I'd rather have Justin Jefferson than Amon-Ra.
Well,
Like,
that's,
no,
that's an obvious one.
obviously,
like,
it's not though, because there's a lot of people who wouldn't.
I know,
Booner,
it's
but
kinda
don't,
crazy.
but don't.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
here's my thing. I don't think it's fair to say we're blind to Amon-Ra St. Brown when we watch him every Sunday, man.
Yeah,
like I'm very familiar with Amon-Ra St. Brown's game. That plain and simple. I'm watching AJ Brown, and I'm like, Amon-Ra St. Brown is damn close to this dude. But I just see a couple things in AJ Brown's game that Amon-Ra St. Brown physically cannot do, and that's not hating. That's just fact of the matter. And that's why I would take AJ Brown. And it's not hate to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I just think there's a few things, like one or two, that AJ Brown does better than Amon-Ra.
Dude, like this argument
Okay,
was 20
he's not.
minutes
He's out of it.
Hey, can I
He's
give
out
out
of
my
it.
picks for the Super Bowl?
I got
know
clowned earlier this
we
year.
Yeah,
kinda
go.
talked-
Cook Gentry. Cook Gentry.
All right, I'm gonna break you two up. But honestly, I put a little 5-legger together, and this is kind of the Lions when they first dropped. I took Rashee Rice over 67.5, George Kittle to get four catches,
Okay.
Debo 40 yards, and then Travis to get 50 yards, and then McCaffrey
That's
to score.
wild.
It's plus 704.
Repeat
That-
it one more time.
Rashee Rice over 67.5, George
Yep.
Kittle 4 catches, Debo 40 yards, Travis 50 yards,
Yep.
McCaffrey TD plus 704.
Hey, that's hitting, Gentry. That's hitting. There's not a thing I heard on there that I don't agree with.
I know.
You
I
could,
love
I
it.
think,
We'll
I
be
think,
laying a
and
little nuke
obviously
on
keep
that.
it, but I think you could even increase the Kelsey yards at
Yeah,
50.
We probably could, but we're
I
not
get
going to
away
get
with it.
greedy
Yeah, I like
here.
50. Gentry, you got to send me that. Hold on, you got to
Can
send
you
me
send
that.
that to us?
We gotta-
Got you,
Yeah,
boys.
hey,
Got you.
that's a
Come on now.
lock. That's a
We
lock.
all eat. We're all eating. Chat's eating. Everyone's eating.
Who do you
Who put
put
that
your
up? Who did that?
Yeah, and I'm not gonna let this get to like a Booner and with Amon-Ra St. Brown in the corner versus everybody. Guess who called 1,500? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, shout out, you did.
I'm not hating. I think, you have to look at situations, Booner. Like we talk about this all the time.
Exactly.
Like, is Jalen Hurts, is he a better pure passer than Goff?
No,
There's no
exactly. You have
Devontae
to look at
Smith there.
situations.
He's never gotten over 4,000 passing yards, and he has another 1,000-yard receiver. Like, and AJ almost had as many numbers. And it's close, but I don't hate anybody if they're like, yeah, AJ is better right now. Like, Amon-Ra might pass him up. Who knows? Or,
Oh, yeah.
maybe you feel like one's above the other. I mean, who gives a shit?
I just remember earlier this year, it was just wild. Like it might have been either you, Jeff, Lucas, or one of the heavyweights had a conversation where halfway through the year I said, Amon-Ra St. Brown will be an All-Pro over AJ Brown. And I'm gonna have to go back and clip it and get the thing, but I just got clowned, like laughed at, like, oh no,
who clowned you?
I got to go back.
I know it wasn't me, but
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it. It was during the
age.
AJ Brown 100-yard little thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you look, the reason I brought it up was because St. Brown was having the same thing going on where he had like 6 grams of 100. And
That's
whoever
fair.
it was, I can't remember who it was, came at me. It might have been one of the heavyweights. I can't remember. It was either Jeff Lucas or the heavyweight.
It sounds like
And I
the
got
heavyweights,
clowned.
low-key.
Like I got clowned. And I said, all right, let's wait till the end of the year and let's see who's first team All-Pro. And guess who ended up being
Hey.
first team All-Pro?
Good take.
So
Booner.
I'm not sitting here saying, and I'm not trying to say good take, but I'm just saying like the St. Brown, AJ Brown thing. Like I get what you guys are saying. At some point, it's like, hey, maybe he is just better, and maybe he is better on a football team than AJ Brown.
That's fair.
It's
If-
tough
if
because for
St.
so many years, AJ Brown's been good. So it's hard
Yeah.
to see a guy who just took off be like, oh, him. But like sometimes that's just the matter of the situation. And that's just what it is.
All I'm saying,
Fair
and I
take.
think what Lucas is saying, and I agree with you. I think it's just close, and I'll end it like this: whoever you choose, who cares? It's close. Like that's how it should be. Like I shouldn't get faulted for picking AJ. Like it's close. I can make an argument for AJ. You probably can make an argument for St. Brown. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it was just when if you rewind this back when I said St. Brown, all of you guys, all three of you guys,
the reasoning we
You
maybe
really
didn't agree with.
No, let's not. We're not going to go down this. It's
No,
going to
I'm
be
not.
another 5
It's fine.
We
We're
got-
done. We're done.
We got 10 minutes left. We can talk
We're
about
done.
it off the show.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. All right, let's get into mailbag.
Mailbag. Love you, Boone.
That's what matters. Booner, I love you,
I love
and
you.
I
I
don't
love
hate
you
you
guys.
because St. Brown
Gentry,
is
hey,
a
Gentry,
dog.
I love you.
I love you too, Booner. You know that.
Can I put a request in for Gentry on Monday?
What's that?
Can you shave all of this besides the stash? I want the full stash
Oh.
Monday.
Yeah, you
All
got.
right,
Hey, yeah.
I'll do it.
That's a
Full
demand.
stash Monday.
Let's go. I
I'll do
love
it.
that.
Mike, I was
boys.
trying to put
If
the
the-
parlay up for the people. I can't get it, but I can't get Timothy's parlay. He just put. What do you guys think about that one?
Parlay. Chiefs plus 7.5. Love that.
Yeah.
Kelsey touchdown. Love that. Clyde over 6.5 rushing yards. That's a make or break.
We got to look at his injury. I know he was banged up a couple weeks ago, so I don't.
And then
I'd
and then
imagine,
Kansas and San Fran both over 19.5. I love that as well. I'm trying to find somewhere where I can bet both of them to score 20. If someone
Yeah.
knows that, please reach out to me at Booner Sports on Twitter. Please.
I'm with it though, Timothy. I think that hits as long as Clyde's like good to go. I don't think there's a way you miss that.
Let me see here. Sorry, I was just getting.
Shout out Barry.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a good one. I was just gonna pull that one. Very nice. Hey boys, caught my first live show. Haven't had a chance to listen at night, but I've been playing it back in the mornings. Barry, thank you.
Shout out.
And that's not like foreign. Like I see a lot of people talk about playing it back in the morning, and we appreciate you for tuning in, Barry. Live,
sure.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
regardless, tuning in
Live or
regardless.
not, we appreciate all of you guys.
Yeah.
It's
tuning in.
even kind of better when it's not live. Like we appreciate it even more. You're taking even more time out of your day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Hey.
that's big time.
Do you know what I realized yesterday? I know we're doing mailbag. I just realized this yesterday. This is an Italian show, fellas. We're all Italians here.
Goddamn right.
This is just we need to get Tommy DeVito on the show, baby.
Hey.
Yeah, no, Tommy DeVito would be a.
We should do that.
Hey,
We
you
got a
got
full
the agent in
Italian
the
show.
DM, Jeff. Hey, and his
Yeah.
agent also is Iffy's agent. You accidentally go to the Instagram DMs and hit the phone instead of message, so it blows his phone up for 2 seconds, and then you message him after.
Let
You
me
hit
cook.
him up.
Let me
You
cook.
hit him up.
Anthony Willis, not Willis. Sorry, Anthony Wills. Mailbag. Brad Holmes trading out of the first round. Stands pat or trades up. We kind of went through that, guys. Didn't we answer that one? I think before.
We
Let's
have a
pick
couple
one.
times.
If you had to
I-
pick one, which is more likely? What do you think it is?
I say trade up. Trade up.
Straight up.
I think I wouldn't mind him trading back, but I think Jeff brought the point up, and I heard someone else too. It's tough to see him trading out of the first round in Detroit. I thought I was on that whole train with Nick. I'm probably going to flip flop a couple times until the draft comes. I will have a statement, but trade up seems the most likely.
Yeah, I think trade up the most likely, but like Booner said, I've been saying it all week. He's making that first round pick no matter where it's at. There's no way he's going into downtown Detroit and not making that first round pick.
I'm gonna say trade back. I think he's gonna
Oh, I
piss
was about to
everybody
click that
off.
one.
He's gonna piss everybody off. Gentry, to your point, everybody's like, he's got to make that first round pick. There's no way he doesn't. Brad doesn't give a fuck. Brad
That's
wants his
fair.
team to win in December. He doesn't care about where this team's picking in April. He wants to win. So he hears that. He does not care.
That's what I'm having so much trouble trying to fit. You know what's really good about this new regime, guys? They're really hard to read. You don't know what they're going to do.
I
And
like
that's,
it. I like it. It
something
keeps you on
want
your
from a
toes.
GM. Yeah, and like around the league, like other GMs, like you want your GM to not have anything, no open doors. And with Brad, like he'll do anything, and he doesn't care, and you don't know what it's going to be.
All right, what about this one, guys? Cali Max mailbag. What are you guys more excited for? Lions new unis or Tigers home opener? Also, would you like new uni colors or modify current colors? At least for me, I'll answer this. Right now, Lions are the hottest thing in the city. I mean, the Tigers home opener, I'll definitely be out there. But what am I more excited for? Lions new uniforms. And if we're talking about modifying, guys, I've been saying this for years. And you see the scheme I have on.
All of us.
I want black unis.
Some people hate them, and I don't get it.
Give me
Yeah,
black unis because they lost a lot of games in them. But it doesn't matter. They look good. I put them on in Madden every time I play Madden.
With Hendon Hooker leading the franchise.
Don't tell the people that. Don't tell the people that. You can't let them know.
No. But yeah. But yeah, black unis and Lions and unis I'm excited for. What about you?
excited for the
Tigers home
Lions,
opener is exciting though. Like
Mhm.
I hope we can do a show.
Oh, it's always
down there.
fun. Yeah,
Hopefully
it's
we can get something set up to where we have a spot to do a show because like Tigers home openers, it's like one of the biggest parties in the city every single year. But Lions new unis, I'm pumped for both of those. I'm ready for
Opening day is going to be lit for sure, like Booner said, and we're going to have a good ass time down there. But dude, I can't wait to see the Lions strut out there in some new uniforms, and it's long overdue, man. New regime, new uniforms, get it done, man. Bring the blacks back.
Hey, I'm with you, boys. And a quick
I
question:
can't wait.
Are the Tigers? Because I'm not even gonna try to act like I follow the Tigers. I've never been the biggest baseball fan. They're gonna be better this year, though, right?
They should win the division.
Okay, so that's because they were in a weak
Really?
division and they almost
should.
could have won it this year.
Okay.
So there will be hype around opening day for sure. But like you guys said, if they unveil the black uniforms with the blue helmets,
my
come
God.
on now.
Come on.
Yeah,
now.
come on.
Nasty.
Come
That's
on.
they're gonna be wearing them in the NFC Championship. Give me the
I will say this.
uni.
To put it in perspective, the Minnesota Twins are minus 140 to win the division. The Tigers are second at plus 310. So it's like they're not a favorite, but like go out there and win the division. Go do it. That's where it's
IT
at.
hips. Will the Red Wings make the playoffs?
Ooh.
Yes, I'll take the stage here. The Red Wings are making the playoffs. Booner, I know you said you got a bet on it already, or you had it from earlier on in the year, but the Red Wings are getting it done, man. They've looked really good. And like I said yesterday, they're getting the goalie situation slowly but surely figured out. And I think they do make a move to address the defenseman in the upcoming trade deadline, maybe add another forward. But I do like the Red Wings' chances. I think they're making the playoffs.
Let's go. I've got the bet. Hey, a couple people in here said no, they shouldn't win the division, Booner. They're not the favorite. I just put the odds out there. They're not the favorite, but in my opinion, go out there and win the division. You're the second favorite. Last year you had a chance down the stretch to kind of make a little push. This year you go contend for it and try and win that thing, man.
Shane
Make a move.
Daniel Mailbag, my wife is being induced on Sunday night going into labor. Is it good enough reason to miss the Super Bowl?
That's shitty. That's like the worst. Imagine if the Lions were making this fun. Hey, Shane.
Oh, Shane would be
there because you know why? You're missing Christian McCaffrey in the playoffs, but you're gonna breed the next Christian McCaffrey. That's what's coming out. You got to use that as motivation. Use it as motivation.
Hey.
You got the next Christian McCaffrey or Caitlin Clark. That's what you got booling right now. So you got to use that as motivation.
I'm pretty sure Shane used to call into Woodward Nights as well. And shout out Shane, dude. He's awesome. And mentioned that he was having a baby the same week as the Super Bowl. And I just I think we talked about it on there. Like, imagine if the Lions were in the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. Like, all your newborn knows is like a Lions Super Bowl. Like, that is unbelievable. Imagine if that would have happened.
That's
awesome.
like my nephew right now, man. He's like 5 or 6. The first Lions game he ever went to was when I took him against the Minnesota Vikings, and it was J-Mo's first touchdown. But like, this was the first year he could actually watch Lions football and like understand it. And he's watching them win division and win 2 playoff games. I'm like, dude, you don't even know. He doesn't even know who Matt Patricia is. But he's going nuts for him. He's like, you have no fucking clue.
ETN, that was I like that one.
That's
hey, tonight the Wi-Fi failed.
The Phillip Rivers one got me, dude.
Coach Walk told Mailbag, anyone want to take bets that if you're an employee at Woodward Sports, you're no longer to comment on the show? I don't know.
I didn't even think of that. We didn't have anyone in the chat tonight, eh?
Hey, boys, meetings were pulled.
Or what? We did hear about a meeting, so hey, they're
Getting cooked.
That's tough.
Mailbag, Jeff, what happened? I thought we had agreement. You won't go to Ford Field. The Lions are playing now. I know why we lost. Still love you. Damn, man. I mean, Booner tried to get me out. He's a good man. He tried.
I was screwed. We had this conversation yesterday, and Lucas was getting mad at me. You shouldn't even let him win. Everyone in this show knew Jeff was going. I went out there and went down to the thing, and I had so many Lions fans mad at me. People who were on my side. I'm sure some people who were on the Booner path, and they were coming at me like, you got to go. And Jeff wouldn't leave. I tried.
Yeah, hey. It is what it is. Hey, I wanted to stay watch my team win, but they didn't. Group texter said,
Prayers.
look at this. King Horse. Mailbag. Chat wants to know if Lucas took that girl to Toledo Applebee's. Is that true?
No, hey, I told you, Nagoya. Applebee's is a close second. It's good bang for your buck, but
Dollar Marks can't beat it.
Listen, I'm not in the field of getting into a relationship, so I like
Applebee's
taking a girl to a nice spot, nice little sushi spot, seeing where the night goes, and then kind of leave it at that.
Man, Motown Mitch. Sorry, what's up, guys? Sorry catching you so late. We'll do a rewatch. You're good, Mitch. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you tuning in.
Eric says, as long as Jeff had fun, that's all that matters. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Eric. All right.
I don't know.
Over a Super Bowl is
letting them off. Way too easy.
Super Bowl. Hey, yeah.
Yeah. Let's time out.
Let's go. J2 Detroit Mailbag. It's BS to HBO or Max. HBO Max costs money, and they don't archive Hard Knocks.
They don't keep it on there?
I thought they do.
They probably don't have the prior season, is what he's saying.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that'd be it. It makes sense though. Like
I have HBO.
you can
I
really
just
only
never
like
got
think
to
about
watch
like the
it.
Jets. The Jets Hard Knocks is like the most watched, and you only see it on YouTube.
You should. Oh well, wait.
Well, it was.
You know what I mean? Like you can't go back and watch prior Hard Knocks on HBO. You got to watch. You wait for the Lions, or you wait for who was it
sure?
this year?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna check after the show. I'm gonna
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't have any.
because I've definitely seen like maybe I'm wrong. That's crazy.
Stefan, he says, "Fuck, sorry, I missed the show. I'll definitely watch it after." You're good,
Hey,
Stefan.
shout out.
We appreciate you guys for popping.
There's a lot of there's some fireworks too, Stefan. There's some fireworks today.
Yeah, definitely
Should enjoy it.
Yeah, there were some fireworks. I love Boone and Lucas arguing. That's a whole nother thing, man. It's
like me and Booner almost had a show on Woodward. That show might have it would have been entertaining, but there would have been no progression in the segments. It would have just been stuck on one segment the whole time.
All right, yeah, I got to keep the boys. We got to keep the boys
together. And we were yelling at each other every segment.
But we thank you guys, man. We appreciate you. Another fun one, another fun week. Super Bowl, we'll be recapping it. Oh, by the way, hold on. Stefan says, Jeff, we share the same barber. Spencer's the GOAT. Hold on, boys. This is personal. Hey, Stefan, Spencer is the GOAT.
I think I have to go to Spencer. Is Spencer in this?
The GOAT. He's a magician.
Can he?
Now I can actually talk about it. He's
showed off Boone.
There it is.
Showed off Boone.
Once a show.
I know it's already 10:02. Can I just real quick? I'm in a position and I need the chats. I need everyone here on this one. I don't know if it's getting too long. So I'm at a position where it's, hey, Booner, you either just push through it and keep going here with the hair up top, the back, or it's time to cut it and trim it down a little bit. I don't know what to do with the mullet.
Clean it up. No, don't take any length off. Clean it up.
All right. Because I was looking in the mirror today and I was like, yeah, I don't know about this one, fellas.
Clean it up. Don't cut it. Clean it up.
I would like someone in there, the Kelsey fade. Let me get that high.
You would rock.
Hey, that's what this is. That's what this is.
Let me get
that's the Klotz fade, to be honest. But no, that's by the way, it's already been a fade. That Kelsey fade stuff's stupid as hell. But anyway, shout out to Joey's Barbershop, by the way. That's where Spencer works. But
we're the Kelsey cuts are dumb.
No, people say it's the Kelsey fade, but it's
just a fade, bro. Like
to
act like white people invented the fade is ignorant.
Yeah, that's ignorant. No. Yeah, black people were like, "Oh, what are we doing? Come on, Kelsey fade. Come on, that's ridiculous." All right, we're getting out of here. See you guys. Have a good night. We'll catch you Monday. We'll be back here. We'll have some content. Weekend, and then Monday we'll be back. Can't wait for it. Recap the Super Bowl. We got more to discuss. Deuces. Take care.
Appreciate y'all.
Love you guys.